along the border to prevent asylum seekers from even approaching a border agent to file an asylum claim. And that, to many immigration advocates and asylum seeker advocates, is a really disappointing and devastating decision given the United States history with respect to the Jews.
Google and the TSA, they're teaming up. They're going to allow passengers to get screened for their flights without having to carry a physical ID. It's called Touchless ID. It's already offered via TSA PreCheck on certain airlines. We hear now from ABC's Sam Sweeney.
Now with this partnership between TSA and Google, if you have a Google Wallet on an Android phone, you can load your passport into it and then connect it to your airline account. And when you show up to the airport, all you have to do is walk up to the camera, have your picture taken, and you'll be cleared to get on your flight.
Back here in Middle Tennessee, federal prosecutors are appealing the dismissal of the human smuggling case against Kilmar Abrego Garcia, a man that was deported to his home country of El Salvador. Robert E. McGuire, a first assistant U.S. attorney in Middle Tennessee, he filed a notice this week that the government is appealing to a higher court, U.S. Court of Appeals for the Sixth Circuit, which has a conservative majority. This comes after last month here in Nashville, U.S. District Judge Waverly Crenshaw dismissed the indictment against Abrego Garcia based on vindictive prosecution, as he termed it. Federal prosecutors, they've alleged that Abrego Garcia, he's connected to the MS-13 gang. That's something that his attorneys are denying. According to ICE, Abrego Garcia, he could still be deported to other countries, and they are continuing to fight that. That is the latest news, our first traffic report, and a weather forecast coming up. I'm Jay Harper, WTN News. Earlier this afternoon, we had a crash that had closed 65 northbound just south of Harding Place. Well, the crash has been moved. However, the backup from that wreck still very considerable on 65 northbound, all the way down to about, the Hogan Road overpass. Starting to clear out a bit. The right lane is still blocked. Traffic is getting through there, but it's going to take a little bit of patience. So that really the only traffic issue at the moment. I'm Jay Harper.
Hello, kids. It is the Matt Murphy Radio Show underway for another day. Happy to have you with us this Thursday edition, June 25 in the year of our Lord 2026. Thank you for being around with us. We've got 4 full hours, and I hope to entertain you for the full 4 hours. If you've only got 5 minutes with us, we'll try to do that as well. We've got lots to get into today. Thank you for being with us. Let's get the pleasantries out of the way, introduce the players of the show. Hold on. I didn't get my mic right while I was preparing for the show.
Unprepared.
Oh, geez. You know, I don't think I like you in the same room as me. I've decided. I like Ryan. Ryan's great. Ryan's back there controlling the experience, getting ready for tomorrow when we'll be out and about at Twin Creeks Marina. Very excited about
Twin Creeks?
Listen, I'm playing hurt, buddy. My tongue is still injured. You haven't.
You got a little bit of a wah-wah?
You know what? Now that I think about it, you haven't asked me how my tongue is once today, and
And see, Matt, that was the first thing I was going to ask you.
Jay Harper back in News Closet B. Excuse me, I need to talk to Jay for a minute. Hey, Jay, how are you?
Well, buddy, how you feeling, man?
You know what? I'm making it. I'm making it.
Well, you know,
he's excited to go out to Twin Creeks tomorrow.
I would be honest in saying that if you did not alert us to the whole tongue problem, I would never have known.
Unto each life must come. Are you're pleasing yourself over there? Are you gonna have a heart attack? He is very, very pleased with himself. Ryan, you might have a permanent position back there at the control area. Jackson's gonna keel over.
Yeah, I hope I make it to tomorrow.
You know what? Each life, for each of us, there will be trials and tribulations.
One of them is sitting in the same room with you at the moment.
That's exactly right. For those who missed it, I bit the hell out of my tongue Tuesday after the show. I was chewing gum on the way home, and I just chomped down on my tongue, and it was bad. I mean, and it sounds stupid, but it was so bad I didn't know that I was going to be able to do the show yesterday. But we plowed through with some pain medication and other types of medication. And then today comes and Jackson doesn't ask me a bit about it. I can't believe you.
You were fine doing karaoke last night.
Oh, we did do karaoke last night. That was fun.
Our friends at the sports station.
Would you like to share the song that you did?
Yes. We did a producer group, I guess you would call it. Would you call it a group? A trio?
It was a trio, yeah.
Me, Ross, and Joseph.
Can I just preface this by saying Jackson Williams has presented himself, since I have known him, as the, and I quote, songbird of his generation.
That is correct. Correct, as you might say.
I saw it in action last night, and I can confirm that he warbled.
What is that?
Like a songbird. Warbled.
Yeah.
W-A-R-B-L-E-D.
Did a little producer trio last night, and we did Unwritten by Natasha Bedingfield.
I can't remember the song. I knew the song when you were singing it, and now I can't remember it. Give me a line or two. You know how to sing it.
Yeah, it's like the staring at the blank page before you.
Oh.
You heard it.
No? Okay. I don't know. I did Folsom Prison Blues by Johnny Cash. Everybody knows that song. Anyway, it was fun. We had a good time.
Great time. Great event.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Jackson invited me, and so I go. Warbled. Let me just make sure I'm not screwing that. Warbled is the past tense of the verb warble. It describes singing or uttering a melody in a trilling or vibrating manner, often characterized by rapidly changing pitch.
That's fair for what we were doing up there.
I felt like you were warbling. Difficult for me to say. We had a good time last night. We'll try to plow through today. Tongue is getting better. Thank you for those who asked. Jay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Ryan,
you're welcome.
Thank you.
I don't want to be a kiss-up about a subject like a man's tongue.
Fair. Jackson, no thank you. You just lost yourself a bacon and pickle pizza, pal. I bet you never thought anybody would say that to you, did you? Let me tell you something. tomorrow you're in for a treat. We're out at Twin Creeks Marina. Y'all come down and see us. If you're in Tullahoma, if you're in Winchester, if you're anywhere around Timms Ford Lake, come on down to Twin Creeks and say hello to us. We're at Drafts and Watercrafts. We'll be there from 3 until 7 o'clock, and we will have a good time, I assure you.
At Twin Creeks.
Yes, that's what I said. And at Drafts and Watercrafts, Scotty does a great job over there. He presents a fine menu, and it's not just, this is more than just bar food. This is good stuff. And he has a pickle and bacon pizza.
It's not any of the Canadian bacon crap, is it? 'Cause that's just ham.
It's sprinkles of like they cook bacon, they chop it up, and they sprinkle it on top of the pie with a nice marinara and then some cheese on top. It is delicious. And you just lost yours from me, Pally, being all nasty.
At Dwarfs and Watercrafts?
Yes, at Dwarfs. And my tongue hurts. Jerk. Donald Trump's tongue might hurt. He was talking a long time today, and apparently some folks walked out on him. We will discuss his conversation with the American people from earlier today. He also had a bit of a shouting match with Senator Bill Cassidy, we are told. We'll run down that for you as the program unfolds today. We've got a couple of guests to share with you. Earthquakes in Venezuela. No, don't make a joke about that one. I almost said earthquake. Earthquake. No, it's bad. I mean, Venezuela's bad. So 7.2 magnitude earthquake, followed immediately by a 7.5 magnitude earthquake. And it is an absolute tragedy down there, natural disaster. That the likes of which we've not seen in some time. We'll share some of the details of that as we understand them coming up a little bit later on today as well. There have been a number of Supreme Court rulings. The Supreme Court struck down the vampire rule in a Second Amendment win, a gun ownership win. Justice Samuel Alito writing that the law violated the constitutional right to keep and bear arms. We'll discuss that with you. A number of these cases decided in a 6-3 fashion, with the 6 more conservative-leaning justices ruling constitutionally, and the 3 liberals, got their lips pooched out, and they're very upset about all of this. We'll discuss that with you today as well. Your telephone calls, of course, 615-737-9986. Always 615-737-9986. Matter of fact, while I'm giving you the numbers, might as well run down the pleasantries on the show, which is what I was trying to do before I became a little bit discombobulated and was immediately ridiculed by Jackson Williams. Tune in, iHeart, Spotify. Those are 3 apps where you can find us. You can find us on any application of your choosing. Any place that has music, news, information, we're there. And if we're not there, we'll get there. Just let us know. We have our own Supertalk 99.7 WTN. You can take us wherever you'd like to go on your smartphone or your laptop computer. And then, of course, there's obviously there's the radio dial, 99.7 FM, and then Talk TV, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, Rumble. YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, Rumble. Jerk. I don't know that that's a platform, but it ought to be. So, episode 1064. 1064. The problem is that all that Jackson has to do is sit over there and think of pithy comments. I said pithy comments. That's an actual word. I'm not mispronouncing it.
Yeah, I thought perhaps you had a lisp.
Yeah, I wasn't saying pissy comments. Okay, I was saying pithy comments.
Just confirming.
Either apply.
Either one applies. Bacon and pickle pizza. I just moved to Northern Illinois and have not seen that. Sounds like it's amazing. It is amazing. Scotty does a great job with that down there. 1579, I've bitten my tongue so bad I sounded drunk when I was sober. That's kind of what I sounded like yesterday, I think. Although Jay's nice enough to say that if he had not known, or if I had not told him, that he would not have known. And I appreciate him saying so.
Yesterday, there were bigger... you weren't the worst sounding one on the radio.
Yeah, so a little bit of I want to do a little post-mortem on what went down yesterday as we start the show today before we get into all of these issues that we shall be discussing. So we had a gentleman, I use that term loosely, by the name of Austin Lee, who made an appearance on the show. Austin is a Columbia, Tennessee resident. Austin apparently, he claims, despite the fact that the Young Republicans, the Tennessee Young Republican Federation, disavows him, denounces him, says that they have no affiliation with him. And the Republican Party of the state of Tennessee says the same, that they don't have any affiliation with him. But he claims that he has taken over as the president of the Murray County Young Republican Party. It's not true, but, whatever. He came on the show. If you missed it, I assume this is podcast.
Oh, yeah. It's called 20 Minutes You'll Never Get Back.
Is that what it's called?
That's what I named it.
It is about 20 minutes that you'll never get back. I think that's what I said at the last.
That's how you ended the interview.
I ended the interview with that's 30 minutes of my life that I'll never get back again. So he is an interesting character and a lot of reaction to it. The problem here, though, as ridiculous as this guy is, and he was pretty ridiculous on the show. And look, it was impossible to get into his position on many of these issues because he refused to answer basic questions about who he was, how he became, how he came to claim that he was president of the Murray County Young Republican Party. So it was difficult to talk about, his theory on race replacement or, the invaders or the traitors or his desire to ban Islam and Hinduism. We tried to talk to him about some of these things. His approach to all of this was combative. His approach was deflective. He did not desire to answer any questions. Thought that as a guest on the show that he could dictate what questions I asked and what questions I did not ask, which is kind of absurd in and of itself. But it was difficult to get to the bottom of who this guy was. So much so that many of you suggested that he might have been a plant. And I understand that suggestion. Some are saying, well, if he is by design trying to confuse people as to who represents the Republicans in Tennessee and who doesn't represent the Republicans in Tennessee, is it possible that this guy's a liberal pretending to be a conservative Republican just to make conservative Republicans look bad?
Charlottesville all over.
Yeah, which is fair, which is a very fair assessment. My take is simple. If that were I would believe that he could be a plant, but if he were a plant, he would be better. He would have been better.
Look at Kamala. Better?
Well, that's fair too. Yeah, I mean, if he's a plant, it's not a very good one. One way or the other, if you want to go enjoy some of that, it is 20 minutes that you'll never get back, but it is perhaps worth it. If you're looking for a good laugh, just listen to me get increasingly frustrated and exacerbated with a dude that would not tell me where he was born. Refused to answer the question, where were you born?
Refused.
Would not answer. Would not answer the question. I asked him how he became, when his election for president of the Murray County Young Republican Party was, and he said there wasn't one. It was granted to me by the past president. I said, who's that? And he refused to tell me who the past president was.
I hear what you were saying.
I acknowledge the question, and I will decline to answer at this time in this forum.
It's like he was taking the fifth, but it was radio.
It was weird.
We weren't in a court.
Yeah, right. He was not compelled to be here.
You've seen courtroom video where it's I assert my Fifth Amendment right. It's just
right. I declined to answer the question asserting my Fifth Amendment privilege against self-incrimination. Right.
Exactly, and he just kept doing it. I've never seen somebody on the radio
do that. It was weird. He was weird. So there's that. Anyway, for those that heard it, I hope you enjoyed it. I certainly didn't. I mean, I guess I did in a way, but I just hate it because I'm trying to get to the bottom of what this guy's all about and what his little flyer was all about. Although it's my understanding, and I mentioned this yesterday, that there were people from the Attorney General's office that were listening to the show, and they are looking into whether or not he is misrepresenting himself. Which can be against the law if he is intentionally. He utilized the Tennessee Young Republican graphic, and he utilized their name on this flyer that he handed out. They have no affiliation with this fella. They have completely and totally denounced the fella, and so that could potentially be against the law. It could also be against the law if you are attempting to raise money or raise support for any political cause, and obviously he was. It says, support Austin Lee, join the Murray County Young Republicans. If that be the case, you have to disclose who's paying for the flyer. I asked him who paid for the flyer. He said, I acknowledge the question. I hear it.
I hear you.
I hear you, and I will decline to answer at this time. Okie dokie. End there.
He called you hostile.
He did. He said
this is a hostile interview.
I'm like, and that was kind of toward the beginning, and I wanted to say, buddy, you ain't seen Hostel yet. I mean, this is not Hostel yet.
That's a tell. He's looking for a safe space.
Yeah, I feel like he was going to get. We're going to get to Hostel. I promise you, but we're not there yet.
He didn't even really let you get Hostel.
I know. He just kept. He wanted to read his. He very, very much wanted to read his postcard. That's what he wanted to do, and I guess he got to do that. Not that it made much sense, read or unread. 615-737-9986 is our telephone number, 22 after the hour. When we return, there are two iconic locations in Nashville, Tennessee that are potentially threatened. One, a self-inflicted wound. The other, a wound inflicted by the government of the metropolitan Nashville, Davidson County area. We'll talk about that 23 after the hour. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Okay, guys, Debbie is standing by at 3:23, almost 3:24 this afternoon, this Thursday. Deb and the team at Timberland Cabinets, they're ready for you. Do you have any questions about your cabinet space? Any questions about cabinets whatsoever? Right in Columbia, Tennessee, they have a location that is right for you. You know, it's one thing to say made in America, but we're saying made in Columbia, Tennessee. Founded in 2005, they have a high-quality kitchen and bathroom cabinetry showroom available for you, so you can go in and you can see the many different models, the many different types of cabinets that they have to offer you at Timberland Cabinets. They make them all right in Columbia, Tennessee. So we save, right? They ship all over the country, but we save because they're right here locally, which is pretty cool. I toured the facility, and I invite you to do it as well. The showroom, they have a location in Franklin, too. By appointment, you can call the number I'm about to give you, and Deb will answer the phone, and she can schedule that for you, too. I encourage you, if you're a homeowner and you're looking to revitalize the heart of the home, and truly the kitchen is the heart of the home, now's the time to do this. And by the way, I know it sounds crazy me saying this when it's just July, but if you were unsatisfied when family came over for Thanksgiving, Christmas last year, the holidays or whatever, and you're looking to refresh your kitchen or refresh your bathrooms, you need to do that in August and September. Get on the books right now at Timberland Cabinets. Go to timberlandcabinets.com, timberlandcabinets.com, or call Debbie today, 931-499-7170, 931-499-7170. Tell them Matt Murphy sent you to Timberland. Hi, friends. Matt Murphy for Cover Nash. Let's talk about it for just a moment. Your health insurance, don't go away. We need to discuss this because it's very important. If you don't know if you're paying too much for your health insurance, you need to know. If you're unaware of how much you should be paying or what your coverage should be, I know somebody that can help you with that, and that is Shane Ring at Cover Nash. Cover Nash makes it all simple for you folks. It takes a telephone call and a sit-down visit. You can go in, and they're right in Brentwood, or you can do most of this over the telephone to find out if you're paying too much and what you need to do to get right with your health insurance. If you're unsatisfied, if you're uninsured, if you're just tired of paying too much, or maybe you're self-employed and you're looking for another option, let's call Shane Ring at Cover Nash. He's your personal healthcare concierge. Call today, 615-465-0023, 465-0023 for our friends at Cover Nash, 465-0023, or online at covernash.com.
Iran apparently now firing drones at ships in the Strait of Hormuz. Yeah, boy. House Speaker also, Mike Johnson, he's trying to smooth things over with Congress and the president. And a tax hike for property owners in Mount Juliet. All that's coming up at 3:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Why are you giggling at me?
You're funny.
I was telling Jackson about the place we're staying at, Twin Creeks, tomorrow. Jackson has horned in on this little adventure, and he's going to stay the night with us.
You invited me, but move on.
You said, well, I invited you after you said, are you staying? I said, yes. Are you letting me stay with you Friday night? And I went, well, yeah, sure. You can stay if you'd like. And you said, yeah, I would. So
no, this started way before you said, you got to come out to Twin Creeks with me. We'll have a cabin. It'll be a great time.
Fair. You'll have
the invite was expected.
You'll have your pick of one of two bedrooms. I get to pick first, and then the in-laws get to pick second, and then you're like the kid. You'll probably have the basement.
That's fair.
That's what I'm figuring. Anyway, that's tomorrow on the show. More on that tomorrow. All right, 29 after the hour. I'll tell you what, Jay Harper's got news coming up. Cheekwood is going through it. And you ever been to Cheekwood? Do you care anything about Cheekwood? Because Cheekwood said they're closing down if they don't get their parking deck. The neighbors say, wait, hold on a second. Nobody said anything about a parking deck, and you're bringing more traffic in here. And, oh, by the way, the entire design of Cheekwood was to have a trickle of activity out throughout the course of the day, a trickle of activity throughout the course of the week and through the course of the year. And now you're having these big concerts and these other types of events that are bringing a flood, not a trickle, but a flood of people into our community. And we didn't pay for all this. We didn't buy into all of this. And you need to fix it, says the residents of the neighborhood of Cheekwood. Cheekwood says, we don't get our parking deck, we're shutting down for good, and Nashville will never have us again. That's one thing. Another thing, there's another iconic spot that we've talked about quite a bit that has some news going on around their area. We'll talk a little more about that with Norm Parton in the 4 o'clock hour today on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. It's time for news on Super Talk.
31 minutes past 3 p.m. I'm Jay Harper with your top stories. We'll get you another traffic report as well as a weather forecast here in a little bit. A U.S. official has confirmed to ABC News that an Iranian drone has hit a ship in the Strait of Hormuz. The attack prompted the UN's International Maritime Organization to suspend their escorts of ships through the strait. More from ABC's Luis Martinez, who says this may be an indication that negotiations and the memorandum of understanding between the U.S. and Iran are on rather shaky ground.
Very tenuous situation because over those 60 days that the United States and Iran are supposed to be negotiating further movement towards an eventual full agreement, there's a lot of instability about what could actually happen. So in previous instances prior to that memo of understanding, what we did see is that the United States would sometimes carry out retaliatory strikes against some of the Iranian positions that would attack some of the shipping through the Strait of Hormuz. But it's unclear if that's something that we're likely to see now.
Back here in the States, House Speaker Mike Johnson meeting with President Trump at the White House today. It was an effort to smooth things over after a contentious meeting with Republican lawmakers yesterday. This comes as the president also refused to sign a bipartisan housing reform bill until Congress passed the Save America Act. But ABC's Karen Travers at the White House says that the bill just doesn't have the support it needs to pass the Senate.
Johnson said that they would be talking about the housing bill and also talking about the Save America Act. Now, the president, of course, wants lawmakers to move forward on that top priority of his. He's been saying since March that he would not sign any legislation until Congress passed the Save America Act. But there isn't a clear path forward right now in the Senate for that to happen because there isn't enough Republican support. House Speaker Mike Johnson said yesterday the Senate should pass it. Well, it's very easy for him to say as the leader on the other side of Capitol Hill.
Back here in Middle Tennessee, Mount Juliet homeowners, you're going to start to see some higher city property taxes after the Board of Commissioners approved a new budget Monday night. That budget raises the city's property tax rate to 28 cents per $100 of assessed value. City leaders said the increase is needed to keep up with the city's rapid growth as well as maintain public safety services and invest in major infrastructure projects. For example, if your home's valued at $300,000, you'd end up paying about $75 more per year in city property taxes under this new rate. That is the latest news. We'll get you another traffic report as well as your weather forecast. All that's coming up. I'm Jay Harper, WTN News. Traffic is starting to move a little better. Granted, it's slow, but it is moving. 65 northbound just south of Harding Place, where we had an earlier crash that blocked the entire interstate for quite some time. The right lane is all that is open, but it is getting by. I'm looking at the cameras. 3 lanes are moving. Again, it is rather slow, so prepare for that. Also, southbound traffic in that same area, it's rather slow, too, as everybody's looking over to the other side to see what's going on. Also, we are seeing quite a bit of congestion around, the entire loop of downtown Nashville. So just be prepared for that as well. I'm Jay Harper.
If you have used a weight loss drug, you've probably seen on the scale what they can do. But in the mirror, that can perhaps be a different story. With sunken cheeks, sagging skin, it's oftentimes called Ozempic face. And at Contours, they see it every day. They use a specialized red light wave to restore firmness, elasticity, and that youthful glow in your face with no needles, no pain, and no downtime. Start with a facial for just $99. You know, you can add a Belly Buster special for $149 for both Belly Buster and the facial. For a total refresh, you can ask about the Murph. You can buy a Belly Buster package and get a facial package for free. That's $1,500 in savings. Get the glow back before the summer plans sneak up on you. Book right now at 615-236-9960. 236-9960 or online at ContoursLLC.com. Contours in Franklin. These are results that you can see. These are real results, and we've heard from people all over our community about how happy they are, and I'm a testimony to it as well. After all, what do you have to lose but inches? Hey, friends, it's Matt Murphy for U.S. Pest. Did you know that if you're already a U.S. Pest customer, and many of you are because you've been listening to me talk about them for some time, if you refer a neighbor, a friend, or a family member, you can get a $50 credit on your account or a free mosquito, tick, or flea treatment. That's especially pertinent this time of year because fleas are out, ticks are out, skeeters are out, and it's time to eliminate them from our lives with a yard treatment or a full-service pest control treatment from U.S. Pest. If you're unsatisfied with your current pest control company or if you don't have one, it's time to call U.S. Pest. J.K. and Erica Brister, they just do it better than anyone else. They love the United States of America, American flags hanging over all their billboards, and I love that they love America, and they don't like bugs very much because bugs are a little communist. You know what I'm saying? You know, they come in, they want what's yours. They come into your house, they don't want to pay for anything, but they want to enjoy everything, your food, and they don't even want to share it with you. They want to take over. So with termite protection, full-service pest control, and crawl-space service available for you, it all starts with a telephone call and a visit from U.S. Pest. Free pest and termite inspection. USPest.com, USPest.com, or 590-1260. Tell them I told you to call 590-1260. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. There are some new rules going into place July 1 that we're going to talk about at some point today. If I don't get to it today, I'll get to it tomorrow, but I hope to get to it today regarding some rules passed in the last session of the Tennessee General Assembly regarding THC. If you enjoy a gummy, as we call them on this radio show, if you enjoy any of those liquid THC-based drinks as opposed to alcoholic-based drinks, then you might want to listen up. If you do that for sleep, if you do it for any sort of medicinal purpose, then you might want to listen up because certain things that you perhaps have been taking will no longer be legal in the state of Tennessee, thanks to the Tennessee General Assembly. The nannies over there in the General Assembly don't believe that us grown adults can handle our own. They don't believe that us grown adults can handle ourselves. And so they saw fit to act like our parents. I don't need parents in the General Assembly, but, this is where, I have a lot of agreements with the Tennessee General Assembly and the people over there. In some ways, I have very strong disagreement with them. And when it comes to acting as my nanny and not believing that I'm a grown person that can make decisions for myself regarding what I intake in my body and what I don't intake in my body, that's where we veer our paths, veer far away from one another. 615-737-9986, 615-737-9986. The Supreme Court of the United States ruled against Hawaii today on the issue of carrying concealed carry, and it was a pretty big victory, a 6-3 decision. The court sided with the plaintiff in Wolford v. Lopez. The plaintiff contested Hawaii's state law requiring a property owner's explicit permission to allow lawful gun owners to bring firearms into public businesses. Hawaii's law at issue here violates the constitutional right to keep and bear arms, said Justice Samuel Alito. This regime hobbles what the Second Amendment protects, the right of Americans to carry arms for self-defense as they go about their daily lives. The ruling reversed a decision by the Appeals Court of the Ninth Circuit, which upheld Hawaii's restriction after the state enacted them in response to the Supreme Court's Bruin decision in 2022. Bruin struck down New York's proper cause licensing requirement and held that Americans have a constitutional right to carry handguns outside of the home for self-defense. Hawaii then overhauled its own firearm law. And I don't want to bore you with the details, but I think the details are pretty important in this case. Among the new provisions was a requirement that concealed carry permit holders would not bring firearms into another person's private property, including businesses open to the public, unless the owner provided express authorization through signage or verbal or written permission. The law became known as the vampire rule. Alito wrote that the law could subject lawful concealed carry permit holders to criminal liability while going about routine daily activities, such as stopping at a gas station, a pharmacy, or a grocery store. He illustrated the concern through a hypothetical based on a woman who sought to carry a weapon after threats from an abusive partner, a woman by the name of Jamie Catano, I believe it's pronounced. Imagining her running ordinary errands while lawfully carrying a firearm for self-defense, unless each of these establishments posted a sign saying guns welcome or something to that effect, every visit would expose her to criminal liability. The court rejected Hawaii's argument that its unique cultural and history justified stricter gun law. The state had relied on part of what the courts called the spirit of aloha to defend the regulation. Second Amendment cannot give way to the spirit of aloha in Hawaii any more than it can yield to the spirit of the Big Apple or the spirit of the Windy City, said Samuel Alito. Merely local attitudes can shrink nor inflate the meaning of the Fundamental Bill of Rights guarantees. They also rejected their reliance on an 1865 Louisiana law enacted as a part of a post-Civil War black code as evidence that similar restrictions have historical roots. The majority said the law should not be used as a historical guide because it was a part of black code. Justice Elena Kagan reached an opposite conclusion in her brief dissent. She argued Hawaii's law fit within the nation's historical tradition of gun regulation, pointing to colonial-era law that required people to obtain permission before carrying firearms onto another person's property. Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson, joined by Justice Sonia Sotomayor, took a broader approach in a separate dissent. Ketanji Brown Jackson might be, and I don't pretend to be a Supreme Court scholar, but I've done more research than most. I think it's fair. More research than most on the history of the court. Ketanji Brown Jackson might be the most ignorant Supreme Court justice we've ever had. And that is not to say that I'm calling her dumb, although she might be that too. She's ignorant. She is, in many ways, willfully ignorant of the Constitution of the United States of America, willfully ignorant of our American precedent, willfully ignorant of the long-standing traditions of freedom and liberty that we have in the United States of America. It's as if she reads a different Constitution than the rest of us. So Jackson writes, there is no constitutional right to enter private property without the owner's permission, let alone with a firearm. So the question this case presents is merely how a property owner must communicate his decision to exclude or to invite armed carry, including whether a state may alter the background property law rules that set the default as one or the other. The Second Amendment has nothing to say about that. What? So, no, you don't have a constitutional right to enter private property without the owner's permission. But one would presume that if the owner in this case was a business owner, for example, if they put out a shingle and open their door to all comers, then that is an invitation for you to come into their place of business. The basic rules are this. Private property matters, okay? And if I'm a private property owner, and let's say Ryan wants to come over to my place of business, and Ryan comes in with a gun on his hip, as is his right to carry firearms in the state of Tennessee, and I say, hey, friend, I don't allow guns on my property. Does Ryan have a right to keep that gun on his person while on my property? No, he does not. Now, I don't have the right to disarm him, but I have the right to tell him to leave. So my right to tell him to leave is my property ownership rights. I get to set the rules on my property. His right to keep and carry is his right. And where the government intervenes in these two rights coming together is, what responsibility do I have as a business owner to alert Ryan to the fact that the rules have just changed when he crosses my threshold? And historically, and here in the state of Tennessee, we recognize in the state of Tennessee private property ownership rights. But it is up to the business owner to post an alert signage making Second Amendment carriers aware of the fact that on our property, we don't want you to have any guns. Now, I've never seen one of these. I have famously said for a long, long time, I used to say it in Alabama all the time too, that I do not open carry. I never have. I conceal carry. I understand that some don't like concealed carry because it is uncomfortable or they consider it to be unwieldy. I just have a different opinion on it. I don't want my open carry to create a target on me. I think I like the element of surprise in that regard. Thank you. So when I am out and about, if you see me out and about, and I don't say this with any bluster, I just say it as a fact. If you see me out and about, odds are I got a gun on me because I believe in my Second Amendment rights. And it's weird. I hear about these signs in the state of Tennessee that say no guns allowed, but I've never seen one. It's weird. I must be missing them. People always tell me, oh, well, Matt, they're right at the front door, or Matt, they're right there where you enter the property, or they're right there in the foyer or the entryway. And I'm like, boy, oh boy, I've never seen one. Odd. It's weird that I've never seen one. So I just go on in and take care of my business and transact business in many ways, maybe sit down, eat at the restaurant. And before you know it, I have left and I still haven't seen that sign. They tell me that they're there though. They tell me,
don't too.
Yeah, they tell me they exist, but I've never seen one. It's weird. Anyway, in the Hawaii case, they flipped the script on this. So do y'all understand, and I'm sure you do, y'all are the smartest listening audience on planet Earth, that you have the right to carry, you have the right to open or concealed carry in public areas, on public thoroughfares, etc. And and the government carves out some exceptions for courthouses and the legislative body and other things. But you don't have the ultimate right to carry a firearm onto private property. But it is the private property owner's responsibility to alert you to the fact that they don't allow for that. Now, that is not a criminal offense. It is an honest mistake. So and I understand that we've got to get the laws changed a little bit in the state of Tennessee. So, the Lee decision, or the Lee case notwithstanding, what was it? Heller versus Lee? Is that am I saying that right? Somebody remind me what the court case was that came down, that the language. No, not the Bruin. I know the Bruin decision. That was a Supreme Court decision. There was a decision regarding the state of Tennessee, and it wasn't Heller versus Lee. It was something versus Hughes versus Lee. Thank you. I'm thanking nobody because I came up with it on my own. Hughes versus Lee. Where it was determined that the language within the Tennessee Constitution is unconstitutional because it places an undue burden on the. It turns what is a proactive right into an affirmative defense, which it should not be an affirmative defense. All of this to say that if you're a business owner and you post properly, and I just don't see it. Like Matt Murphy, I'm just oblivious to it. And I walk in and I sit down at a restaurant, and then the business owner stops by, and the business owner happens to see my gun on my hip. That business owner doesn't have the opportunity to arrest me. Obviously, they can't arrest anyway, but they can't call the cops and say, I demand that he be arrested. What they will do is say, hey, you can't have guns in here. You need to take your gun out and you can continue having lunch, or you can leave. And if you don't, if you say, no, I have a right, then they can trespass you. The police can come and they can say that you're trespassing, and that if you do not leave because the owner of the property says that you're violating the rules of the property, then they can arrest you for trespass, not for a gun violation. In the Hawaii case, they were saying that there had to be a proactive sign saying guns allowed, that the presumption was that guns weren't allowed unless they had a sign that said they were. And that's not the way it works. The presumption is that guns are allowed unless specifically noted by the place of business. Y'all see the difference? I hope so. 53, it's a good day for Second Amendment lovers. 53 after the hour, Super Talk 99.7, WTN. Hi, friends. Matt Murphy here for King and Associates Insurance. If you have kids, I want to talk to you for a minute because this message is specifically for you. Life insurance is often not about, well, it's not about you. It's about your family. It's about the people that you leave behind. It's there to make sure that they don't have to have the burden of financial issues on them as they have the burden of the loss of their wonderful loved one, you. So life insurance should be something that you concern yourself with. And I understand nobody wants to think about it necessarily, but at King & Associates, they're going to make it simple with no pressure, confusion, just clear options that fit you, your lifestyle, and your family. 615-329-8121 is the number. 615-329-8121 or online at kinginsurance.com. That's kinginsurance.com. Also, if you are a commercial business, one claim can cost you everything. They do business, commercial insurance at tkinginsurance.com, and they want to talk to you as well. Once again, tkinginsurance.com or 615-329-8121. You want to know a place where European auto repair does not feel like European auto repair? Hey, it's Matt Murphy, and I'll tell you, the moment you walk into Eurofix, you'll notice they're not your typical greasy garage. Excuse me, I had to sneeze there. I didn't want to sneeze on you. Not during my Eurofix conversation. They're not your typical greasy garage. You know, waiting rooms are clean and comfortable, inviting. They clean the waiting rooms so you don't get the sneezes while you're in there. Service areas are spotless because Eurofix cares about just about everything. From how you're treated to how your vehicle is treated, every repair comes with a rock-solid 3-year, 36,000-mile nationwide warranty on all the repairs they perform. And at below dealer pricing, you don't have to put up with dealer pricing. You don't have to put up with getting ghosted or waiting on a callback. Eurofix fixes everything European, plus a rental car available with every appointment. Locations in Nashville, Franklin, Belmead, Murfreesboro, and Mount Juliet. Call 844-EUROFIX, 844-EUROFIX, or visit online at myEuroFix.com. Tell them Matt Murphy sent you to myEuroFix.com.
Iranian drones now being launched at ships in the Strait of Hormuz. Is anybody really surprised? Anyway, help being sent to earthquake victims in Venezuela, and a Robertson County man facing a multi-count indictment on child sex charges. That's coming up at 4 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
I always love having Norm Parton in the studio with me because he always makes me feel better about the future of the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway. Something that we've been talking about since I've been here in 2021. I mean, I got here in December of 2021. I gravitated to the Speedway soon after. I absolutely love motorsports. You all know that about me. We'll talk to Norm about the latest on what could be at Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway coming up in just a couple of minutes. I do want to get to one quick one in here. Jeff is in Cottontown. Hey, Jeff, what's up? Hey, Jeff.
Hey, Matt. Thanks for taking my call.
Hey, Jeff.
All right, I got a little story. I was in a small town. Me and my buddy had just actually went to a shooting range, and we go to this restaurant. We both walk in and sit down. We're seated, and the waitress, I guess, seen us walk in and comes up and she says immediately, "Hey, we see that you guys are carrying." And of course, we don't open carry. We're concealed, like what you were talking about. So they had to be looking pretty hard. And so we, had done sit down, and she says, "Well, we don't allow guns in here."
Right.
Well, they did not have nothing on the front door saying that they didn't allow. So we both immediately said, "Well, if you don't allow guns in here, evidently you don't want our business." And so about that time, some other people heard us, and the owner was walking up. So there was another guy in behind us, and he spoke up, and he said, "Hey, I'm carrying too. So I guess you don't want my business."
Did everybody leave, Jeff?
Well, we started to, and she had a come to Jesus meeting, I guess, and said, "Okay, we'll allow it, but we don't normally allow it." And I was like, "You don't have it on your front door, and, I've got a concealed permit that says I can carry unless you say otherwise. But I will leave, but I will let everybody I know know about it."
I mean, that's the way. And Jeff, I don't mean to rush you, but I got to go. That's the way that it ought to work. You let them know. That's fine. It's your place of business, but I'm never coming back, and I'm telling all of my friends not to come back either. And eventually they'll come around to the right way of thinking in my world. It's 1 minute after 4 o'clock on Super Talk.
It is 1 minute past 4 p.m. I'm Jay Harper with your top stories. A forecast and a traffic report are coming up. A U.S. official has confirmed to ABC News that an Iranian drone has hit a ship in the Strait of Hormuz. The attack prompted the UN's International Maritime Organization to suspend their escorts of ships through the strait. We hear now from ABC's Luis Martinez.
What we have from a U.S. official is that, yes, there was an Iranian attack on a vessel that was carried out by an Iranian drone that caused some damage to the ship's bridge. And of course, yes, this would be the first time that we now know that there is some kind of a new kind of kinetic incident involving Iran since the signing of that memo of understanding just last week.
Help will soon begin pouring into Venezuela following a series of devastating earthquakes that led to the collapse of buildings. The death toll has risen to at least 188, with another 1,500 injured. The U.S. State Department is mobilizing $150 million in assistance to the country, and the U.S. Southern Command says it's working with the State Department to support relief operations. ABC's Victor Oquendo, he is in Doral, Florida, where nonprofit aid operations are being staged.
A nationwide state of emergency in Venezuela as active search and rescue operations are underway. Video showing the devastation, people scrambling for cover, debris crashing down on the street below. Officials say the earthquakes are among the strongest to strike Venezuela in more than a century. One survivor saying the scene was like a horror movie. Victor Oquendo, ABC News, Doral.
Google and the TSA, they're teaming up to allow passengers to get screened for their flights without having to carry a physical ID. It's called Touchless ID. It's already being offered via TSA PreCheck on certain airlines. Under the new partnership, people will have a Google Wallet and an Android phone, which will be able to scan their passports in, and facial recognition will also be used to confirm identities. We hear about all this from ABC's Sam Sweeney.
If you don't have an Android or you don't have Google Wallet, you can still load your information with most of the major U.S. airlines. It's now available in roughly 65 airports, but you can expect it to grow in the coming months and years.
A Middle Tennessee man facing a 64-count indictment involving child sex crime charges. That's according to the Greenbrier Police Department. They report that James Mackenzie Gay was indicted by a Robertson County grand jury following an investigation by the department's Criminal Investigations Division. Investigators arrested Gay on Wednesday, and he's now being held at the Robertson County Jail. He's been indicted, among other charges, on the following charges: 20 counts of aggravated sexual battery involving a child under 13 and 36 counts of sexual exploitation of a minor, as well as possession of child pornography. That's the latest news. We've got weather, we've got traffic, and they're coming up. I'm Jay Harper, WTN News. I-40 eastbound just before exit 207. We have the left lane blocked due to a crash. 65 southbound at the Briley-Ellington exit. That in Madison, there is a crash there. And we've had this slowdown pretty much all afternoon. On 65 northbound, just before Harding Place at exit 78, we had an earlier crash that closed the interstate. The interstate's back open, but the right lane and the right shoulder are still blocked. Traffic still extremely slow and congested on 65 northbound, again, near Harding Place, and traffic southbound in that area, it's slow as well. I'm Jay Harper.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN. It is the Matt Murphy Radio Show. Second hour starts right now. Thank you for being with us. 9 minutes past 4 o'clock. Obviously, we've got a couple of breaking news stories to tell you about. In Venezuela, yesterday, an absolute tragedy of a natural disaster. An earthquake struck Venezuela near Caracas, I guess it was. 7.2 magnitude earthquake, followed very quickly by a 7.5 magnitude earthquake. And if you can imagine, the buildings that were shaken but not toppled by the first wave of earthquake were then weakened to the point that they were toppled in the second wave of earthquake. And it looks exactly like you might imagine. It was devastating. 188 people dead, over 1,500 people injured, many, many others missing or currently trapped. Donald Trump, the president of the United States, announcing that American resources will be utilized to help the people of Venezuela, and obviously so. And we're thinking about them. We'll cover that story for you comprehensively as we go through the afternoon on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Secondarily, a number of Supreme Court rulings. We talked at length about the Second Amendment ruling out of Hawaii. There were a couple of other rulings regarding illegal immigration and the ability of the Trump administration to keep undocumented or illegal aliens out of the United States of America, demonstrating that the court ruled in favor of the Trump administration that in order to claim asylum, that you have to be physically present in the United States of America. To make that asylum claim, in one pair of major immigration wins for the Trump administration, the court ruled asylum seekers who are stopped on the other side of the southern border are not present in the United States of America. Therefore, they do not have an asylum claim to make. If treated as inside the country, despite being outside of the country, those individuals would be allowed to enter and remain while their asylum claims are pending. But the case highlights the lengths that the Biden administration went to facilitate the entry of illegal aliens into the United States of America. And by some accounts, as many as 10 million illegal aliens moved through the southern border and into the United States of America illegally during the Biden administration itself. So we'll continue talking about that story as well. I mentioned that there are two Nashville icons that are potentially threatened in different ways. One of them, relatively recent, is Cheekwood. I've been to Cheekwood on a number of occasions. We went out to Cheekwood for the Christmas lights. I've been out there to see a concert or two. And Cheekwood is going through it with the residents of that community. The community residents feel like that Cheekwood has grown in a way that is not in relation or correlation to its original charter and its original purpose. In other words, it was originally a garden, a park, where you would see a regular trickle of visitors into the Cheekwood area. But now they claim that Cheekwood is turning itself into a destination spot for concerts and for specific events that create a flood of traffic and activity. that they did not bargain for, they did not sign up for. Cheekwood is trying to build a big old parking garage, and the residents are pushing back against that parking garage. Cheekwood says that if we don't get the parking garage, we'll shut down. So they're kind of, I think, trying to use their weight, their muscle, in order to keep open. But they're saying, if we don't get this parking garage, we'll close down. And the neighbors are saying, look, this is not what any of us bargained for, and this is a danger to the safety of the neighborhood. The neighbors don't say the same thing about the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway, however, and that's the other iconic location that I'm fearful without some movement is going to slowly go by the wayside. To speak on that matter, we have our good friend Norm Parton. We invite Norm. Norm's welcome anytime he wants to come into this studio. Norm has been on these airwaves many, many years before me, and he'll probably be on these airwaves long after I'm gone. Norm Parton joins us on the Matt Murphy Show to talk about the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway and some of the latest developments. What is going on, brother?
Well, there is a petition going to hit the streets to change the charter.
Hold on.
Hold on. Yeah.
Well, before we get to all of that,
yes.
When I say what's going on, I'm talking about Norm Parton Day at Roy's Meat Service. Now, I missed this.
Yeah, you did. You came last year.
I did come last year. I was out of town this year. But it's my understanding that fun was had by most.
That is true.
Yeah?
That is true.
You have a
lot of good food. We had, I think, about 12 people that came for the first time ever.
Yeah.
It went over very well, and we do it once a year. And we're probably going to do it again this fall.
Okay.
So when the weather's a little cooler.
I noticed you slid the date in on me late this year, probably trying to keep me away. I get it.
No, we want you there.
But you let me know and I'll be there. It has all of his the nice little neighbor that he had. She's moved, hasn't she?
No,
she's still there.
She temporarily moved, was I understand. She's there. Still owns the house.
Is that still ongoing?
Ongoing.
That little dispute
goes to court 28th of September, not going to be on the front row.
Let me tell you something. You tell Jeff Roy, as soon as he wants a seat where you're sitting, and you and I have talked about this.
Yes.
And Jeff is such for those that don't know, Jeff Roy is going through a little dispute with a neighbor who came into town and decided that she didn't like the smell of meat or whatever.
Yeah.
But, I've told him on several occasions, and I've told you multiple times.
Yeah.
All he has to do is be willing to sit down and tell his story. And once he does, I promise you all this goes away.
Well, there's all these legal things that he's afraid of, somebody hearing something the wrong way or whatever.
I know.
And
he's also a genuinely nice human being. And
he's a wonderful guy. You'd be surprised what he does for the community. He's one of those guys that's a hitch pin in the community. And the food is great. I'm telling you, I've told you this story before. I actually made the wife go, and she wasn't all about it till we got a barbecue sandwich.
Mm-hmm.
And she says, that's the best barbecue I ever had. So we started going regularly on Saturdays, about every other Saturday. And now we're there 3-4 times a month, and I find excuses to be there during lunchtime when I'm out and about. And it's become a regular. And
we buy our and if you don't know Roy's Meat Service, Jeff Roy is a great part of our community.
Yeah.
And he's sold meat for a long time. He's got an establishment. And what is that? Is that East? No, it's not East Nashville.
Yes, it is.
It is at East Nashville? Okay. I guess you tell me if I can or not. Yeah. But the basic story, he's he took what had become kind of a convenience store and turned it back into a local grocery.
Local grocery and meat and meat marketing. Right. And he sells all prime. There's no dyes, there's no preservatives, all of this stuff. And I'll tell you how good his stuff is. My company does high impact entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
We do the Masters every year. And people pay a lot of money to do the Masters with me. And I hire a chef. We have our own clubhouse. His stuff is so good. We buy it here, load it up, and head to Augusta. And that's what we are. That's what we're serving when we're at Augusta, and I'm telling you, it's a premium level event. So we offer the best we can get, and
I go over regularly and just buy for the freezer, but we particularly buy for the holidays.
Yep.
I mean, we all of the meat that we have, or like at Easter or Christmas or Thanksgiving, comes from Jeff. He's a great guy, and the one of these days I'll relate the entire story once all of this is done. It is a story that I tell people on occasion.
Yeah.
Just at a gathering party, with a beer in my hand.
Yeah.
And people don't believe it. It's so ridiculous.
Yeah.
What this poor just steward of his community has gone through.
Yeah.
That people don't believe.
Yeah.
And he's got a smile on his face and goes, it'll work out. It'll be fine.
Yeah, I think I think it's going to work out.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah.
I do too. Talk to me about the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway.
So, without calling names, the soccer people.
Mm-hmm. I'll call names.
His initials are John Ingram. Has hoodwinked the neighborhood to follow him, a well-funded campaign. They're hired a company to come in and door knock to sign a petition to change the charter, the Metro charter, that protects the uses of the fairgrounds, which he single-handedly has destroyed most of them already.
Mm-hmm.
So he does not want the racetrack. He wants the property. Now, he's already been given 10 acres free for his own financial benefit to subsidize the soccer program, which will never make money on its own. So he wants to do away with the racetrack. I'm not sure the petition is going to say that. And they put affordable housing and better uses and all this kind of stuff. But if the petition does not say we're going to dig up the racetrack, which has been there for over 100 years, it's been operating since 1958 as an asphalt racing facility. Most of the people listening to us right now were not born in 1958. I was a wee lad at that time. But my message is here's a rich guy who has done a lot for this city. The Ingram family has done, and they should be ashamed of themselves. Greed. It's all greed. He wants that property.
Well, what bothers me more than I don't know John Ingram.
Nor do I, because he won't show himself.
Well, he won't show himself on our show either. I've invited him on the show on multiple occasions. He would be welcome to come in and offer his side of all of this at any time that he wants to. But I do know this. Now, I wasn't here when this happened. I got here in late November of 21.
Right.
But I've seen the video of him saying, I love racing.
Yep.
Racing stays. Yep. And I also have talked to people who've told me that he knew at the time that he said that it was his ultimate goal to take over the Speedway and bulldoze it.
Yes. I mean,
and that's just dishonesty.
Well, it's a lie.
Yeah.
It's shame on the Ingram family for everything they've done good for this city that he turns around and does something like that.
And one side on this issue, Norm, and you've taught me this, one side wants to work together. One side, the Fairground Speedway side, says, great for Geodis Park. Wonderful that you're here. We'll work with you. The Bristol folks were like, we'll work on dates. We'll figure it out. We don't want to compete for parking. If you've got a
work together.
We will work together. One side wants to work together and improve that area and invest, what is it, 130 some odd million?
No, it ain't anywhere near that. It's not even 100 million.
You talking about the Bristol people?
Yeah.
The plan? All right. But they want to invest that into the speedways, what I'm saying. They to revitalize that project. The other side doesn't want to talk. They just want to have their way and they want the property.
It is my understanding, and I want to make it clear, I'm not paid by anybody. I'm here on my own. It is my understanding he will not even take a phone call from the Bristol people, and they have reached out multiple times.
They just want to sit down and talk to him.
Yeah.
What do you need?
Yeah. Let's have a cup of coffee. And let's work this out. And had they really worked together and not put up such a wall to keep Bristol out, they could have jointly built and save each other money at the same time. But no, and it's irregardless. Now, here's an interesting thing. You talk about the neighbors at Cheekwood.
Mm-hmm.
I challenged John Ingram, the mayor. I challenged Matt Murphy. I challenge any council person to ride with me through the neighborhood and stop and talk to people, which I do on a regular basis. I also go in the neighborhood with a decibel meter while they're racing. And the claims that I can't watch TV, the claims that my dog crawls under the bed, I will take you to those houses while the races are going on and challenge you to hear them. I will challenge you. And I can tell you that the decibel reader on Wedgwood Avenue today, right now, pointed towards I-65 is louder than the races when they're racing.
And if the dang Metro City Council and the mayor would go ahead and approve the agreement between the fairgrounds, the sound, the noise would go down.
Go down. And here's an interesting fact. I have way too much time on my hands. I spend a lot of time thinking. So I'm driving on 440, and I'm trying to get on I-65, which means you wait your turn. You spend a lot of time looking at license plates and taillights. So I'm looking at the sound barriers that they have built there. I said, well, I wonder how those work. So I Google, and I get TDOT, and I get the national. They claim and put in writing that those sound barriers, mm-hmm. which means the sound is bouncing off of, reduces the noise 50%. Sound absorbing walls take even more.
Mm-hmm.
And they're putting sound absorbing walls at the fairgrounds. So the moral of the story is there are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people, into the thousands, that participate in racing. There's businesses, untold number of businesses. I can list them, and there's like 40 in the greater Nashville area that supply things for racing, from powder coating to building race cars. It is a multi-million-dollar industry that individuals, your neighbors, the people you went to school with, the people you shop at the grocery store with, invested hundreds of thousands of dollars, and they're wanting to take it away. It's all wrong.
All right, we're going to talk about this petition that they're trying to circulate and a few other matters with Norm. And a lot of you have questions for our guest, Norm Parton. You know Norm. Someone just said, tell Norm we sure do miss race night on WTN. That's 0939.
Thank you for that.
We'll talk about that a little bit later on, 25 after the hour on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hello, friends. Matt Murphy for the Tennessee Men's Clinic. I want to talk to you fellas that maybe feel like you've lost a step or two. Perhaps you've reached a certain age where you don't have the energy level that you once had, and maybe this has slipped into the bedroom. I mean, and look, fellas, I'm not afraid to talk about this, and you shouldn't be either. If that has happened, guys, it is not 1976. It is 2026. There are ways that you can solve this issue, but you have to pick up the phone and make the telephone call to the Tennessee Men's Clinic. They are your solution station. They are urology-based. They have 4 separate locations in the Middle Tennessee area, and Evan Bass and his team have developed action plans specific to your needs, whether it's a testosterone level or something else going on. They can assist you, man, in getting back into the game, if you know what I'm saying. They have locations, the original in Nashville, obviously. They've got one in Cool Springs. They've got a location in Clarksville and the brand new facility in Murfreesboro. You can reach any of these places by calling the same telephone number, 615-208-9090, 208-9090. Talk to them about scheduling an appointment, and less than $100. You'll get in, get a complete consultation. They'll draw some blood work, and they will figure out what's going on in your body and develop a plan of action for you. It's the Tennessee Men's Clinic, online at TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. It is 4:30, and I'm Jay Harper with your top stories. We'll get you an updated traffic report, and we'll get you a weather forecast as well. House Speaker Mike Johnson, he met with the president today at the White House one day after Donald Trump said he was not going to sign a bipartisan housing reform bill unless Congress first passed his so-called Save America Act. ABC's Christiane Cordero, she's got more from D.C.
Some of what it does is that it requires proof of citizenship in order to register to vote, a photo ID to cast a ballot. It requires states to submit their voter rolls to the administration. It has been something the president has been acutely focused on. And yesterday, he followed through with his promise to not sign any legislation until this piece of legislation gets through Congress, until Congress gets it done.
Back here in Nashville, we have more details on the story we were telling you earlier today, a shooting that happened, quite frankly, right across the street from us at our studios here on Demumbrian and Music Circle East. A man shot his girlfriend, and then he committed suicide at the Comfort Inn on Music Circle East. Metro Police say 34-year-old Edward Mazon of Goodlettsville and his 44-year-old girlfriend, they were staying at the Comfort Inn when they got into an hours-long argument. The woman told police she wanted to end the relationship, started packing up her stuff. Mazon, he made statements about hurting himself, and as the woman turned to take her belongings to her car at about 1 o'clock this morning, he shot her in the leg and then shot himself in the head. Mazon, he died in the motel room. The Nashville woman, she was taken to Vanderbilt. She's in stable condition now. Metro Police say that Mazon, he was arrested back in June for violating an order of protection involving this same woman. The Market Numbers Report. It is brought to you by Beacon Capital Management. They're online at beaconcm.com. The closing money news is with Chuck Sievertson.
Market indexes were mixed. The Dow was up 72 points at the end of Thursday trading. The S&P 500 was unchanged after a roller coaster day of trading, and the Nasdaq fell 118 points. Chipmaker Micron Technology helped drive market gains. Shares were up more than 16% after the company reported much stronger than expected profit and revenue for the latest quarter. Strong demand for computer memory and storage is turning into higher prices for customers. Microsoft and Apple both announced price hikes on consumer products. Microsoft upping Xbox prices by at least $100, and Apple raised prices of Macintosh computers by more than 15%. The announcement sent Apple shares into a slump that helped drag down the S&P 500. Department of Commerce reported the U.S. economy expanded at 2.1% in the first quarter of the year, marking a rebound from the 0.5% growth at the end of last year that was weighed down by a lengthy government shutdown.
That is the latest news, traffic, and weather coming up. I'm Jay Harper, WTN News. Well, still dealing with this slowdown. We've been talking about this pretty much all afternoon. There was a wreck at 65 northbound just before Harding Place that had the interstate shut down. The wreck's gone, but the traffic's still there. The right shoulder's still blocked as they move that wreck over there, and traffic backed up for a considerable distance on 65 northbound. Again, this near Harding Place. 40 eastbound at Donaldson Pike near the airport. We have a wreck just coming in there. That grass fire still causing problems over in Antioch. 24 eastbound past Hickory Hollow Parkway. And Nolensville Pike, north of Bradford Hills Drive, a new crash reported there. I'm Jay Harper.
Hello, friends. Matt Murphy for Nashville Safe House. Nashville Safe House is, simply put, your one-stop shop for all things safes in our community. I've told you over the past several years that Mark and his team have developed a system by which they have more safes than anyone in not just any singular competitor, but if you take all of the competitors and combine them, they have more safes than all of his competitors combined. And really, there is no competition for Nashville Safe House. They have all of the name brands that you know and love. They're the largest safe specialty company in the Southeast and maybe the United States of America. They've got Browning, Fort Knox, Champion, Superior, Rhino, and all the rest. You walk into the lobby area, you'll see Donald Trump on one side. You'll see the Murphy Safe Special on the other side. You see Jill sitting there. She'll say, hey, T, I don't know where Mark is. He's probably back in the safe room. 200 safes on the showroom floor and another 400 in their warehouse. They have the safe that's right for you at Nashville Safe House. Go to NashvilleSafeHouse.com to find out more, NashvilleSafeHouse.com, or stop by. They're on 4th Avenue South in Nashville, across from City Cemetery. Tell them Matt Murphy sent you to Nashville Safe House. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. It is the Matt Murphy Show. Thank you for being around with us. Brian and Will will get to you momentarily. Calling in to talk with, not me, but Norm Parton, our good friend and guest, discussing the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway and where we are. All right, real quick, let's get to where we are right now. All right, so for those that don't know, there's been a longstanding agreement that is in the hands of the city of Nashville that the Bristol Motor Speedway has put in their hands, agreeing to, tell me if I'm wrong, Norm, lease the facility
30 years.
For 30 years, and they will fully pay for a revitalization of the facility.
And upkeep.
Upkeep of the facility. They will keep the 9 weekend dates that are currently
10.
I thought there were 9, and then they're adding the NASCAR. Is there 10?
No, it's 10 total.
Okay.
And anything they add will consume into those 10. There will not be 11. There will not be 12.
I see.
It'll be 10.
So the opportunity would exist upon revitalization that NASCAR would bring a cup race there.
Correct.
And that would be included in the 10.
Correct.
Okay. This involves noise abatement. It involves, making the area better. I mean, everyone will benefit, and it's not costing the taxpayer. What's it costing the taxpayer, Norm?
It's a little bit less than nothing.
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 It's a no-brainer.
And not only do the taxpayers pay nothing, they're gaining money because the Bristol deal puts money in the Metro coffers.
Right.
So it's not that it isn't costing you anything, it's giving you money.
Because right now, the Metro Nashville, the city council, they are on the hook for the upkeep of the facility.
Correct.
Per the charter. And they have to spend money to keep the facility up.
Yeah.
And they won't be spending that money anymore.
So as a taxpayer, you have a choice of somebody paying the full bill, paying you money to do it, and bringing economic impact to the city, or you can foot the bill yourself, which is going to be to the tune of about $40 million. So they just had a fire down there because the electrical was built in the 60s. They had an electrical fire that cost somebody a lot of merchandise and could have been much worse. So now, Nashville taxpayers, you, the person out there complaining about your property taxes, are on the hook for them fixing the electrical out there, or you can have somebody else pay it for you.
So we brought up John Ingram and the Geodis folks. They will not necessarily say this publicly. They want the property for their own purpose.
Correct.
And they know that if the track goes fallow, then they can do that.
Yes.
But in order to make that happen even more quickly, they're trying to change the Metro charter, which has racing as a stated use at that facility.
Yes. A protected use.
A protected use. Thank you. Yep. So now
by 70% in a referendum. Past that.
That was like 12 years ago or something like that, right?
2011, and 72% was the vote in favor of keeping the protected uses.
To my knowledge, Norm, you correct me if I'm wrong, is there a single person that lives anywhere near that racetrack that was there before the racetrack was?
Let's see, you would have to be born, you have to, as an adult, you would have to have been born during World War II. To be an adult when,
right?
No, but
to purchase a piece of that property.
So that's the 1958 issue. If you were there when the fairgrounds was built in 1909, I think you would be setting a world record for age right now.
And you know what? Those people, they would have a beef.
Yeah,
they might have a beef, but otherwise. You know,
well, see, here's another thing that gets me. That is one of the hottest neighborhoods in Middle Tennessee. The number of people that are living in multi-unit condos and apartments with their balconies facing the racetrack would shock you if you would ride with me in the neighborhood and let me show it to you. The people in walking distance that have built to be there would shock you.
So economically, it makes perfect sense. The community members, when you talk to them individually, don't seem to have an issue with it. But Ingram and his minions are running around with a petition, which is misleading in and of itself. I just got a...
read that.
I just got... Let me see. Let me find it. I was approached... This is from 9999. That's the last four digits of this telephone number. I was approached yesterday to sign the petition. They're calling it the Restoring the Fairgrounds petition. I did not sign, and we told them that they needed to leave our place of business.
Thank you so
Good
much.
for you.
I wish that person would contact me. Google me. You can find me.
I'm getting a lot of questions, and I think Will might have one of these questions. I'm going to let him ask it. Will has a thought about historic designation. Hey, Will, how are you?
I'm doing good, Matt. How are you?
Great, thank you.
So Norm, my question is, why hasn't the track? I got two questions actually. First question is, why hasn't the track been marked as a historic site under the Historic Preservation Act?
It does not qualify.
Okay.
The structures that are built now were built in the 60s. So what burned down would have qualified, but it burned in, I think, 1966
Gotcha.
during the fair, if you remember, if you're a native.
I do remember that. I actually raced there at the track. My dad raced there at the track too. The other question I have is, a couple of states such as Iowa and North Carolina have recently passed right to race acts.
Yes.
Is that something that we could maybe get our legislature here in Tennessee, to the state legislature, to look into?
Well, I can explain that to you, because we brought it to the state legislature. And you go before a committee, and the committee either they can turn it down or move it forward. The committee doesn't pass it, but they can move it forward. One member on that committee who has received the maximum contribution from John Ingram killed it.
Who was that?
Johnny Garrett, who's running for the 6th District Congress right now, which the fairgrounds would be in his district, as will Geodis Park, owned by John Ingram.
That's interesting to know.
Yes, and he did call me, and we went through everything, and he claims to be a lawyer and be smarter than the other states that are doing this. So I guess he is smarter than the average person.
So you talked to Johnny about it? Because I just texted Johnny and asked him why he killed the Right to Race Act.
Yeah. Oh, he has a perfect example, but it doesn't hold water. Yeah. It doesn't. I mean, it's the same bill every other state has passed.
Yeah.
It's in front of about 14 states now. And the bill only says this: if you move next to a motorsports park of any type of motorsports, motorcycle drag racing, all over the state of Tennessee, if you move there, you cannot file a nuisance lawsuit against them if they are abiding by all of the local laws. How can that go wrong?
What did I consider Garrett a friend, and I'll have him on about that. What did he say to you about it?
He said that it opened the door for widespread expansion of motorsports, which it has nothing to do with that. He's just doing the talking points that John Ingram gave him. So remember that when you're going to the polls.
I'm going to remember that the next time I have Johnny Garrett on the show.
Well, I'd love to sit right there when he's here.
Yeah. I'd like to talk to him about it, too.
Yeah. So, and we'll bring it out and go line by line, and what he says it does, it doesn't. So he's got the talking points, but he don't have the facts.
That's very intriguing. Yes. Brian is next up in Smyrna with a question about the racetrack. Hey, Brian.
Hey, guys. How are y'all?
Good.
Hey, and you know what? This actually is a great transition point, because you're talking about Johnny Garrett. You need to get Marcia involved in this, because I actually was at a fundraiser at John Ingram's house. John was out riding his polo pony, playing polo back in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
And riding it looked like a lawn jockey riding out there on his polo pony. And Marcia was there. So you need to get the people involved that are running for governor and say, hey, let's get on board with this.
That is in process.
Let's get this done.
Well, here's what I would say, and once again,
but it's a metro issue.
Yeah, I mean they can
lean
on them.
When we were there, Ingram had obviously gotten Outback to host one of the tents, and I ate about 40 pounds of the Outback shrimp.
Yeah,
it was distasteful how much shrimp I ate, and I was wearing a seersucker suit, get Marcia and get some of these politicians that are running for office right now and get involved with this.
Well, it still boils down.
We don't need to lose this staple.
But it still boils down to the mayor of Nashville.
Well,
he's the only one that can pull the trigger.
Feckless Freddie says that he doesn't have the votes.
False.
That's what he told me.
False.
I know. I don't.
False.
I'm just telling. I'm just.
See, my
thing
is, if you're a leader, you go ahead and put it in council, and let's make it happen. Let's be a leader.
If I don't have you know what? It's the same thing with the SAVE Act and John Thune up in Washington D.C.
Absolutely.
If you don't have the votes, put it on the floor and make these SOBs go on the record and vote against it.
That's right. That's what.
And then we'll figure it out.
And I can tell you that every council person, when they hear and see the deal, change their mind.
Well, I've got a text out to Johnny, by the way, just for those of you who know. Once again, Johnny's a friend. He's been a friend of the show. I like Johnny. I didn't know this about him, but I've already had 3 people, Larry, 4460, and there was one other John, have said, and all 3 of them independent in a row, Johnny Garrett just lost my vote. Johnny Garrett just lost my vote. Johnny Garrett just lost my vote. So, Johnny, if you're listening, we'd love to talk with you about this.
I'd love for him to be sitting right there right now.
51 after the hour, one more segment on this point, and what is the call to action, according to Norm Parton. We'll get to that in a moment on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Tens of thousands still remain missing in Venezuela. We'll have the latest. Also, Iranians shooting drones at ships. And also, alligator Alcatraz will soon be a thing of the past. We'll have all that coming up at 5 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN. A lot of you are responding none too kindly about this news. This is interesting. We'll give Mr. Garrett, Representative Johnny Garrett, an opportunity to speak his mind at some point. I mean, I'm sure he'll call me back. Johnny and I have never been anything but nice to one another, but Norm taught me something new today, and we're going to figure all of this out, that he was apparently toting water for John Ingram in committee hearings and didn't believe in the Right to Race Act. So we'll get to the bottom of it. No less, and I'm just telling you facts, y'all. I have 16 now and counting people on the Super Text line that have said Johnny Garrett just lost their vote in the 6th District congressional race based on what they heard about him toting the water for John Ingram and killing the Right to Race bill. There's just spitting some facts out there.
You remember Obama said elections has consequences. Making bad decisions during an election has consequences. And I hope that there's more people out there that are saying the same thing, and call your neighbors, friends, uncles, and aunts and tell them the same.
What do we need to do regarding the Fairground Speedway?
When they knock on your door, politely tell them you're not interested. I would love to have a copy of what they're putting in front of people. I do not have that yet. I've been trying to get one. But here's the thing. When Bristol got involved, their logo was Restore the Racetrack.
Right.
They have stolen the word restore. Therefore, people are being misled.
They're being confused.
Purposely misled. So just decline to sign, but be polite about it.
And if you have any way of getting me, I'm talking to all of you, if you have any way of getting me the language on the petition, we'd love to see that too.
And hopefully call me if they're at your door. Call me. I'd love to come talk to them.
Norm, thank you for everything that you do for this city.
I try my best.
We appreciate you. Good to hear from you. And best of luck on your, I know you just had a little procedure. Good luck with all of that.
It's going well.
Enjoy your milkshakes.
I will.
There's Norm Parton. We'll be back. 2 more hours to go. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. It's the Matt Murphy Show. Back in a moment.
It is 5 p.m. I'm Jay Harper with your top stories. A traffic report and a weather forecast are coming up. Tens of thousands are still considered missing in Venezuela following the twin earthquakes that reduced some buildings to just dust. The death toll currently at 188, but that number is expected to rise quite a bit as first responders and rescuers continue to search for bodies or people who may just still be stranded in the rubble. Senior Vice President of International Programs for the International Rescue Committee, Kieran Donnelly, says it's going to be hard to get aid into areas of the country because of all the damage.
We have a team in Venezuela who've been working there for over 40 years. Our Venezuelan colleagues, after having spent last night sleeping in the open for fear of further aftershocks, they've regrouped this morning and are already beginning assessment efforts working with local Venezuelan civil society organizations to understand where the greatest needs are and how we can best support them in that effort.
A U.S. official has confirmed that an Iranian drone has struck a ship in the Strait of Hormuz. The attack prompted the UN's International Maritime Organization to suspend their escorts of ships through the strait. More from ABC's Luis Martinez, who says this may be an indication that negotiations and the Memorandum of Understanding between the U.S. and Iran are on rather shaky ground.
Very tenuous situation because over those 60 days that the United States and Iran are supposed to be negotiating further movement towards an eventual full agreement, there's a lot of instability about what could actually happen. So in previous instances prior to that memo of understanding, what we did see is that the United States would sometimes carry out retaliatory strikes against some of the Iranian positions that would attack some of the shipping through the Strait of Hormuz. But it's unclear if that's something that we're likely to see now.
The Florida immigration facility known as Alligator Alcatraz, it's closing after a year in existence with many complaints about it. Here's ABC's Chuck Sievertson.
Florida Governor Ron DeSantis.
I don't think you would see us doing this again. This was temporary. This was an emergency measure.
At a Thursday news conference, he said federal Homeland Security did not have resources.
The funding they got last summer had not passed yet, and they were in a situation where they could not keep these people. They didn't know what to do with them. They didn't have the space.
Lawsuits alleged environmental violations, inhumane conditions for detainees, no working bathrooms, insects, and inedible food.
That is the latest news. We have traffic and weather coming up. I'm Jay Harper, WTN News. At 5 minutes past 5 p.m. near the airport, we have a crash. 40 eastbound at the Donaldson Pike exit. 24 eastbound in Murfreesboro Pike, a crash reported. Still dealing with a grass fire in Antioch that's kind of limiting visibility somewhat. 24 eastbound past Hickory Hollow Parkway. And the earlier accident that we had, the whole darn interstate was closed. 65 northbound just before Harding Place. It was opened back up some time ago, but we still have slow going through there as the right lane is still blocked. I'm Jay Harper.
All right, here we go. It is hour number 3 of the Matt Murphy Radio Show. Thank you for being with us on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Whatever time you give us, we certainly are appreciative of it. We've got lots to get into this hour. Ninklepoop's coming up in the latter portions of this hour and another hour to go after that. 4 full hours and just a part of live and local conversation that starts early in the morning with Nashville's Morning News and Dan Mandis. Then there's Chris Hand, Chad Benson. Before you know it, it's Matt Murphy and the Matt Murphy Show on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. By the way, speaking of Chris and Dan, brand new episode of two podcast episodes that I need to tell you about. Number 1 is All the Best Words with yours truly and Cameron Smith. That drops Sundays, right? Sunday mornings, that will drop. So be on the lookout for that. But before that drops, Mostly Peaceful Saturday morning with Dan Mandis, Matt Murphy, and Chris Hand will be dropping a pretty good episode this time around. We talked about the Mount Rushmore of Canadians. Believe it or not, I don't know how we did that. We talked about the gubernatorial race between Marsha Blackburn, John Rose, and Monty Fritz. Amongst other things, Iran a little bit right toward the end. Not much on that, but that episode drops later on, Saturday morning. Hey, Mason, 7 a.m., Mostly Peaceful, Saturday morning, 7 a.m. Okay, yes, 7 a.m.
6.
Oh, 6 a.m. Oh, you put up 6 fingers, and
Matt has trouble with math.
5 plus. Okay, yes, that's 6. That's like I said, 6 a.m. Saturday mornings on all of our the podcast platforms, YouTube, et cetera, et cetera. So be on the lookout for that. The news of the last hour was interesting. Now, we had Norm Parton on the show. Norm is a longtime a supporter of racing at Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway. And he just puts it down there where the goats can graze on it and did so again today. There is a petition running around the community in an effort to not convince the people into signing it that would attempt to eliminate racing as a charter protected activity at the racetrack. Right now, John Ingram can't score that property until he eliminates that from the Metro Charter. Sadly, the Bristol Motor Speedway deal just languishes. Bristol Motor Speedway is ready to invest millions upon millions of dollars to revitalize that racetrack, to better protect the neighborhood from noise. Currently, there are 10 racing weekends. There will never be more than 10 racing weekends. And all they need to do is put it up for a vote on it, and off we go. Sadly, John Ingram, multi-gajillionaire, has decided that he wants to lie to the people of this community by, on one hand, he has said in the past that he has nothing against racing. He wants to protect racing. Racing's good, blah, blah, blah. But he never meant it, and now he is actively working against it. But he's not doing so publicly. He throws a rock and hides his hand. This Mike Kopp fella, who is on the front lines of the Restoring the Fairgrounds movement. He is an associate affiliated with John Ingram, and everybody knows it. You can find no official affiliation, but anytime somebody's on television talking about how the neighborhood needs to eliminate racing and we need to move forward with that and blah, 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 and there's better ways to use that property, it's always Mike Kopp on there. That's K-O-P-P. That said, what we learned from Norm, and I didn't know this, there's a Right to Race Act that has gone through several other states that would prevent individuals from filing nuisance complaints against a pre-existing establishment that has racing at its core, like the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway. And that bill was stymied. I am told that Senator Mark Pody was carrying the bill in the Senate, and that Mark Pody had the votes in the Senate to pass that bill. You know how I know that, Jackson? You know who told me that?
Mark Pody?
Mark Pody told me that. Very good, Jackson. Yes, Senator Mark Pody said he was carrying the bill in the Senate and that he had the votes. It was killed in the House, and it was killed in a particular committee in the House, and according to Norm Parton, it was killed by Representative Johnny Garrett. And Norm says that Johnny Garrett killed it at the behest of John Ingram. That was according to Norm, not me, Norm. Now, Johnny, I consider Johnny a friend. Johnny's been on this show on numerous occasions as a representative from Sumner County and also as a candidate for the 6th Congressional District. He's running against Van Hillary in that district. A number of you, and not a insignificant number of you, upon hearing this news last hour, are now saying that you will not be voting for Johnny Garrett. Now, I'm going to hold my water until we hear his side of the story. Norm says he killed the bill in the House, and he did so because John Ingram told him to. That's what Norm said. Not me, not Matt Murphy, not Jackson Williams, Norm. So we'll find out from Johnny what he has to say about it. Lee wants to know where John Ingram is from. I think the Ingram family's from around here. They've been around here for a long time. They got a lot of money, but I don't know the answer to that question.
Matt, do you know what committee that would have been?
I don't know. I could ask Norm. I could ask him. That's a good question. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. We'll find out. In the meantime, your calls, 615-737-9986, 615-737-9986. There have been a number of Supreme Court rulings today. The birthright citizenship ruling has not come down, so the anticipation is that it will come tomorrow, and that will be a big deal. Obviously, Fry Jay tomorrow. Jay will be on phone tomorrow, not on video, because we're out at Twin Creeks Marina in Love. Is that Winchester? I think it's Winchester. I think it's Winchester, Tennessee. Timms Ford Lake out there in the it's just God's country out there. You're going to love it. You're going to absolutely
I've been for Joseph's bachelor party. We went down there.
Oh, okay. So you know your way around. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I'm going to show you where the deepest part of the lake is. Push you off.
Sounds good. I can swim.
Can you?
Doggy paddle.
Good for you. When did you learn? Back in the day?
04.
Can I tell you a story? 04?
Yeah.
Oh, I guess I'd say that to me. That's like, what? You learned when you were 30? Oh, wait, no, you were 5.
I was 4.
I didn't learn to swim until I was 12. 12 years old. That feels like that's late. And I learned at a pool party. Jessica Jordan wanted me to go in the pool with her. And I didn't want her to know that I couldn't swim.
So yeah.
I jumped in.
Faked it till you made it?
Well, I jumped in kind of toward the side because I figured I could claw up the sidewall. And that didn't work very well, so I figured I better learn how to swim. A lot of you are saying that you're very interested in Johnny Garrett's rationale behind killing the Right to Race Act. And I'm interested too. But once again, in all sincerity, I've liked Johnny for as long as I've known him. Want to give him an opportunity to speak on the matter and offer what I'm certain is a rational reason behind killing the bill in the House of Representatives. Greg is in Columbia. He is next on the show. Hey, Greg.
Hey, Matt. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great. Thank you.
Hey, I want to call you about the Nashville Speedway. And for the newest people of Middle Tennessee, that was one of the icon racetracks in NASCAR. I was there teens of times watching Dale Earnhardt, Sterling Marlin, Darrell Waltrip, all the great racers that are no longer on the track or have left us. And my point, and Norm Parton, I know that man, don't know him personally, but I know his fight for the Speedway has been going on a long time. Everyone who enjoys NASCAR needs to help these guys get this track situation taken care of. It needs to stay. It's an icon. It's a great place in the history of NASCAR racing, and we shouldn't get rid of any type of facility that's in that category. I was there a lot of times throughout my younger years when it was humping every weekend. Saw a lot of concerts there too. But, Sterling Marlin's not far from Columbia. He's in Spring Hill. I don't know if his health would get him anywhere in Nashville to meet with people, but he was the track champion several years there, where he raced a bunch, not only in the NASCAR deal, but he raced in other races they had there when NASCAR was off. But I've seen a bunch of races there, and I don't know what it is about Nashville. I've never seen Nashville have a Republican mayor, and I don't know when. But that's a lot to do, I think. I'm just speaking my mind here.
Yeah.
But people that are not on the conservative, smarter side of the aisle, in my opinion, that's a problem Nashville's had for a long time, except Bredesen. I voted for him for governor. He was the best Democrat I've ever seen. But anyway, if anybody's out there that's got the power, bring it out to help people restore the speedway, and nothing will happen to it.
Yeah.
We need history to stay alive.
Greg, great call, great sentiments, and and in addition, a little bit of a trip down memory lane. I obviously was not around Nashville, Tennessee, to experience the Nashville Fairground Speedway back in the day when I guess NASCAR racing ended in the mid-1980s there. I guess it started in the 50s and ended in the 80s at some point. But, yes, some of the greats, the Cale Yarboroughs and the Darrell Waltrips and the Allisons and, all of those great racers from the 1970s, obviously, Richard Petty and Pearson and the rest. They raced. And then Marty Robbins raced out there, for goodness sake. Country music superstar Marty Robbins loved getting behind the wheel of a race car, and he raced what was it called, the Nashville 420 or the Music City 420 during that time. Yeah, you could relive those glory days. Sadly, there's one individual that's responsible for stymieing that, and his name is John Ingram. I mean, and unfortunately, some of the politicians that could push back against this and actually make some headway in making this deal happen between Bristol and the Speedway, a 30-year lease, Bristol would be on the hook for all of the upkeep. That means that more money would go into the pockets of the Nashville citizens, right? Right now, we're spending millions of dollars in upkeep, I think, annually. And none of that money would be spent anymore. So that literally is tax dollars back in our pockets to spend on other things. And the racetrack would be upgraded, and the noise would go down, and you would see more economic activity in that area, and you would see more stimulus through events like a NASCAR Cup Series race there at least every other year. If you're a fan of motorsports, and I understand you don't have to be, you need to be a fan of history and a fan of Nashville to be in support of this. But if you're a fan of racing, I mean, like Jackson here. Jackson's a brand new fan of racing. He's a big time. Who's your buddy?
Denny Hamlin.
Denny Hamlin. And why did you select Denny Hamlin as your favorite race car driver?
3 reasons. His car, that nice blue car,
Love that blue,
looked good,
yeah.
nice and shiny. Number 2, he keeps winning.
He does win.
And number 3, his tire guy told you to bleep off.
That is cool. I keep telling you, he told me to get the bleep out of his bleeping way.
Haven't we all?
Well, you're a new racing fan, and every driver that you talk to, you say, what's a track that you'd love to get back to? Chase Elliott. I know Dale Earnhardt Jr. doesn't race anymore, but Dale Jr. All of these race car drivers say, we want to go back to Nashville. Nashville's an iconic place, and not the super speedway. They're out in Lebanon, and that's all well and good. They want to come downtown, and it would be a racetrack that is closest to the center of downtown of any of the other tracks that they have across the country.
And I think it's about to get easier to schedule with the soccer team.
Why is that?
They're about to have summers off.
Really?
Yeah. The schedule they're changing the MLS schedule.
Huh. So what? Is it going to be a split schedule now, like spring, fall, or?
I believe it's going to be like August to February-ish. It's going to align. It's going to align with the English Premier Leagues and the more regulated international European schedules.
And for a lot of the year, you don't have to worry about scheduling conflicts. Jimmy is next in Lebanon. Hello, Jimmy. What's going on?
Hello, sir.
How are you, Jimmy?
Oh, wonderful. Just wanted to say you were talking about Johnny Garrett and Van Hillary being the only two in the 6th district on the congressional race. When they did that redistricting and took Sumner County out of the 6th district, they left just a little piece in for where Van Hillary and Johnny Garrett live in Sumner County. That's the only little piece that they have in Sumner County where, if elected, they wouldn't have to move. That seems like some screwy politics to me. And you don't ever mention John Henry. I heard you mention him one time, like he's wasting his time. I don't think he's wasting his time.
I don't know that I've ever said that he's wasted. I've had John Henry on the show. If I said that they were the only two, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said that, Jimmy, because I do know that there are others in the race.
Yes, sir. And there's also a lady, I can't remember her name, but she's in there too. But those you just never mention John Henry, and I believe he's a good man. And he's not a politician. He's not a career politician.
Well, I apologize for omitting him, and it was not my intention. And if I've ever said that he's wasting his time, then I apologize for that too. I don't think I have, but if I have, Jimmy, then I'm sorry.
Well, I appreciate you, and I've enjoyed listening to your show. You're kind of close to Phil Valentine, in my opinion, but I had to call and say that.
Well, I'm glad you did. I'm glad you reminded me that there were several other people in the race, and I appreciate your telephone call, Jimmy. No, I do not begrudge anyone throwing their hat in the political ring. There was a time, and the reason that I don't think I said that, and if I did, once again, Mr. Jimmy, I'm not doubting that you heard what you heard, but there was a time when I would just kind of dismiss some of the non-political folks that entered into the race, that didn't have a lot of money, that didn't have a lot of opportunity. Folks, I don't do that anymore. I believe in citizen statesmen and citizen politicians. I believe that if you are compelled by God or by whatever is inside of you that draws you to the process, that you believe you can make a difference, I applaud that. I believe in it. I absolutely love it, and I want to promote it. And I think we need to get I don't know how to do it because money is a form of speech, but we need to do our best to get all of this money out of there, all of this political action committee crap out of there, and get back to the idea of citizen legislators, citizen statesmen. 24 after the hour. Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Coming up here in just a bit, House Speaker Johnson met with the president today to try to smooth some ruffled feathers. We'll let you know how that goes. Also, more of the rescue efforts in Venezuela, and we've learned more about that shooting at a Demonbreun Street hotel. That's all coming up here in just a bit on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Let's try to get to as many as we can before we'll go over to Jay Harper in the newsroom, get some headlines over there, and then Nincompoops in the news coming up right after the bottom of the hour on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Dave is in Columbia. Hello, Dave. What's going on, brother?
Hey, Matt. Hey, that caller before me, let me get this straight. There's a guy running for Congress named John Henry?
There is.
Well, people need to vote for him. He's a steel-driving man.
John Henry. Reminds me of my dog. I had a dog named
you
John.
heard that John Henry was a steel driving man.
That's why I named my dog John Henry. John Henry was a steel driving dog.
No, this Garrett fella, he's a Republican, right?
He is.
So, when you were talking to that guy, it was Norm, was it?
Yes.
You acted surprised that would have happened. That this Garrett guy, you'll never get him to admit it, but this is what happens. You got this fat cat Ingram. If you think there wasn't a backroom deal where, hey, you're running for Congress, and you know what, I can probably smooth some things over for you making that congressional run, but I need you to carry this water over here in the State House. That stuff happens all the time. I expect it from Democrats, but let me tell you, brother, we're eat up with the Republicans doing the same dang things all over. I've lost respect for I won't vote for Marsha. The same kind of crap happens all over the place, and you're absolutely right. I personally, I want to see more citizen legislators, people standing up running for office. I don't, maybe they ain't got a shot the first time. Get your name out there, get some votes, build it up. But all of them, I can't name on one hand, count them off on one hand, the Republicans in this state that I still respect. Maybe Burchett, Sapicki, I love him to death, but we got too few and far between in our Republican leadership that's willing to stand up and do the right thing. They just don't. They're looking for a paycheck. And it's sickening.
Dave, no, great call. Got to get to the news. I agree with you. 615-737-9986. Time for the news. I am late. 32 after the hour. Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
It is 32 minutes past 5 p.m. I'm Jay Harper with your top story. Stand by for a traffic report and the weather forecast. House Speaker Mike Johnson meeting with President Trump for several hours at the White House today. That's just one day after the president said he was not going to sign a bipartisan housing bill unless Congress passes his election bill first. That bill, called the Save America Act, and it includes things like proof of citizenship in order to register and a photo ID to cast a ballot. Speaker Johnson says Congress will send the bipartisan housing bill to President Trump to sign, but didn't specify when that would happen. That transmission would start a 10-day clock for the president to sign or veto the bill. Otherwise, it'll become law, with a pocket veto, if you will. President Trump called for Republican unity on his social media platform, and Speaker Johnson says that they are on the same page.
Very productive meeting. We're on exactly the same page. He wants to ensure that we stop any blockade in the House. Congress has work to do, and that's what we're going to do. And so we'll be moving forward on all of that. We're transmitting the housing bill to the White House.
Tens of thousands are still considered missing in Venezuela following the twin earthquakes that reduced some buildings to rubble. The death toll just under 200, but that number is expected to rise as first responders and rescuers continue to search for bodies or folks that may still be alive. Senior Vice President of International Programs for the International Rescue Committee, Kieran Donnelly, he says that Venezuela was already facing a humanitarian crisis before the quakes hit.
A country that wasn't prepared to deal with, doesn't have the resilience to deal with a shock of this nature. And so, massive earthquake, significant infrastructural damage. A lot of people have lost their homes. Many people have lost loved ones tragically. And so the rebuilding effort is going to be significantly harder than it would have been in a country that was better prepared for this.
We now know more about a shooting that occurred, quite frankly, at a hotel right next door to our studios. A man shot his girlfriend and then committed suicide at that downtown hotel overnight. Metro Police say 34-year-old Edward Mazon of Goodlettsville and his 44-year-old girlfriend, they were staying at the Comfort Inn on Demumbrian Street when they got into an hours-long argument. The woman told officers she wanted to end the relationship with him and started packing her stuff up. Mazon, he made statements about hurting himself, and as the woman was taking her belongings to her car at about 1 a.m, Mazon shot her in the leg and then shot himself in the head. Mazon died in the hotel room. The Nashville woman taken to Vanderbilt Hospital. She has gone into stable condition now. Metro Police say that Mazon, he was arrested back in early June for violating an order of protection involving this very same woman. That is the latest news. We'll get to traffic and weather next. I'm Jay Harper, WTN News. We still have very slow traffic, 65 northbound just before Harding Place. We had an accident there a few hours ago. The right shoulder is still blocked and traffic is still rather slow. Near the airport, Donaldson Pike at Terminal Drive, that's a new wreck. 24 eastbound at Old Hickory Boulevard, exit 40, picking up a wreck there. The left lane blocked in Hermitage due to a wreck on 40 eastbound just before Stewart's Ferry Pike. I'm Jay Harper.
I wish we could tell that story on the radio, but we can't. Jackson was just telling me a cute little family story. Hey, speaking of family, if you have any family member in your life that has a pain issue, right, I have a solution for you. And that solution is the Wellness Institute of Nashville. For the most part, they can assist in any pain that you might be having or any pain that a family member might be having, whether it's back pain, neck pain, knee pain, hip pain, elbow pain, whatever it is and wherever it hurts, they can help. They've got the brand new Medical Bay one. This is incredible, right? Dr. Mitchell created this system himself. It's a futuristic healing machine. It massages your body. It does full body laser. It does red light therapy. It does stem cell stimulation for tissue regeneration and uses photons of wavelength for ultimate healing. Bottom line is this. You experience in this Medical Bay an incredible opportunity to heal better, faster, with futuristic results. That's what it's all about. It's like we're in Star Trek or something. Plus, they've got the Epic Spinal Special that goes on, $33 off every visit. Epic Healing with no surgery, no downtime, no injections, no painkillers. Please give them a call or go online to find out more at painisbad.com, painisbad.com, or call 615-246-5009, 246-5009. It's the Wellness Institute of Nashville. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Jay Harper's back in News Closet B. Ryan controlling the experience behind the glass, turning the knobs and making sure that everything that comes out of our speakers sounds as good as humanly possible. My name is Matt Murphy. I'm the host of the show today, and we're not really sure what Jackson is doing today.
Nothing.
To be honest. I mean, you're sitting over there with, what do you got in your mouth? Nothing. No. Oh, nothing. Okay. I'm not supposed to talk about that. Never mind. Sorry. Sometimes I share too much. I don't mean to.
You're an overshare.
I'm an oversharer, and that was not intentional. 615-737. Why am I giving the telephone number? I don't know. I do want to go to Paul real quick, and then we'll get to Nincompoops in a moment on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hello, Paul.
Hey, what's going on?
What's happening, Paul?
I just wanted to call and apologize for my call yesterday. After doing some research and talking to some other people, that gentleman is a squirrel, and I was wrong for thinking that you were misreading him, and I misread him, and that is on me, and I hope you can forgive me for calling you yesterday and fussing at you.
No, dude. I mean, that's all good. So what do you mean by that he's a squirrel? I don't know that I've...
Well, just some of the things that he wants to do are just way outside of just reality.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a thing or two that I might have had a partial agreement with, like the replacement thing. I don't know if that's even a thing, but, I think that sounds like it might be something that needs looked at, but the rest of the stuff was just really bad. And I was off base, and I shouldn't.
No, don't worry about any of that. Listen, I was frustrated and a little bit disappointed that we couldn't have a reasonable conversation about some of those things. I, like you, wanted to talk to him about replacement theory and whether or not he believed it was intentional and how it was intentional and how it was being implemented, because I think there's a lot of legitimate concern about the population of America kind of changing in its very fabric and nature, not even in its color, just in its nature. And we're losing the culture that way, right? There is you watch it happen in the UK. We're watching it happen in other places in Europe. New York's a great example. So is that happening in Tennessee? I mean, so there's a place for that conversation. We couldn't get to that conversation because of his, as you said,
he was very, very evasive and he wanted to control the conversation, and that's not the way it works when you're on the radio.
No.
You're the one that controls the conversation, not the guest.
Well, Paul, no apology needed. I appreciate you listening. I thank you for calling. Call us anytime, and I enjoy the conversation between you and I, my friend.
All right, sir. Thank you very much, and have a good day.
You do as well. I appreciate you. 44 after the hour. I appreciate all of you, and I appreciate you indulging us in something that we do at this time every day. It is called Nincompoops in the News. There we go.
Nincompoops in the News.
All right, we got 3 stories. Jay Harper's got one of them. Jackson Williams has another. Matt Murphy has a third. You get to vote. I feel like Ryan should get a vote. I mean,
I've been wanting to know, what are the rules?
The rules of Nincompoops?
What makes a valid story?
Really, the only rule, really, is that, well, there's 2 rules. You can't repeat a story that has already been done, and nobody can die. Because Nincompoops is supposed to be fun, and there's a lot of stories about people doing dumb stuff that lead to them dying. And so we don't want to turn it into the Darwin Awards,
So they must survive.
So, nobody dies in the story. And,
and it can't be boring.
And it can't be boring. Sure, that's fair. So there's 3 rules.
Who won yesterday?
No repeats. I think
Murphy did.
I think I did.
That was on the YouTube.
I know. I think I did on the thing too.
Yeah, I think Matt did.
I believe I did.
Yeah,
Jackson doesn't like that. Look, he got all grumpy over there.
You notice how the 2 people who aren't in the running for the trophy?
What? Look, we're laying down facts. Ryan's laying down facts. Jay Harper's laying down facts.
Exactly. Yeah, as Matt would say, Jackson's sitting over there with his lips pooched out.
You got your lips pooched out.
You got your lips pooched out.
Louis the 16th.
You see how you're the heel now?
Yeah, that's fair. I don't care.
Oh, boy.
I just want to win.
You know what? I'm going to let you go first. How about that?
Okay.
You see what a big man I am when
You
I
are.
win the day? How nice I am? And if you take my story, I'm coming across this table, and I'm going to beat you viciously about the head and shoulders. You go first, I go second, Jay goes third.
It's the head and neck.
No, it's the head and shoulders.
I was always told head and neck.
I'm going head and shoulders.
Okay.
Okay.
You ready?
I'm ready.
Ryan, do you have my horn?
Give him his horn. It's the only thing he lives for. Yeah. It says breaking news, but it's one of like four things.
It's on the right side.
Hey! It has been found.
Now, there's another one that says big breaking news. You want that one?
No, that one's saved for when I win.
I'll keep that one, keep the powder dry on that one.
Oh, good gracious.
JP Morgan Chase executive fired for dumping garbage on the sidewalk and stealing trash receptacle during Knicks parade. JP Morgan Chase gave the axe to a senior executive caught on video dumping garbage onto an NYC sidewalk at the New York Knicks championship parade and then stealing the trash can, TMZ has learned. A spokesperson for the Manhattan-based bank told TMZ that it fired Angie Baez after reviewing footage posted online showing the bizarre incident during last Thursday's parade in the Big Apple. As you know, the Knicks beat the Spurs 4-1 to take home the NBA championship. Videos uploaded to X show Baez decked out in Knicks gear as she dumps the contents of the trash bin onto the sidewalk. And this was not like, oh, it had a couple things in it.
This
full. Is a full garbage can.
Yes, absolutely full.
And done by a chungus.
I mean, yeah, she's a big girl.
Yeah, it's a big old gal.
Big old girl.
Onto the sidewalk and then walks away with it in front of stunned pedestrians. According to her LinkedIn, Baez was Executive Director of Community and Industry Engagement for Card and Connected Commerce at JP Morgan Chase. Prior to JP Morgan, Baez was employed as Executive Director of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion at The Infatuation, a website that posts reviews about New York restaurants.
What did they think? I mean, obviously this woman's an nincompoop.
Yes.
But I'm going to go ahead and say by extension, the city of New York, y'all are a bunch of nincompoops. What did y'all think was going to happen?
When you made special garbage cans.
New York Nick colored garbage cans.
People were going to steal them.
Yes.
And you know, I can't say I wouldn't have been tempted.
But not a full one, Jackson.
Yeah, I would have tried to find one, you know. And also, I would have found a replacement trash can. I'm not just going to dump it into the street like an animal.
Well, apparently the Knicks are selling smaller versions of that trash.
Oh, well, yeah, but this one's big and it's free.
Oh, I know. Yeah, but, well, it wasn't free to her.
Oh, five-finger discount.
Yeah, she lost her job and she's had to pay a fine. But as far as reports are saying that they haven't arrested her, but they have made her pay fines.
I feel like maybe Jackson's turning into the nincompoops on this story because Jackson's getting a little defensive of old girl. It's like, I kind of understand it. I could just there and. You know, I would have put it in another trash bag, but
yeah, it's not about the. I think a lot of us would have been tempted. I think it's about the executions. The devil is in the details, Matt.
Jay, you hurt yourself?
Yeah,
Hey, Jay, yeah. Jackson said it's not about the thieving; it's about the littering.
Yeah,
you just can't. And you know, you got to be more discreet about it. You got to make sure no one's videoing you.
Well, how are you going to be discreet in the middle of a celebration where there's like 2 million people on the street in broad daylight,
cameras everywhere?
I'm sure there was one
in Manhattan.
I'm sure there was
out loud.
One over by the alley where Batman's parents got.
There ain't nobody looking. Come on, everybody's looking.
Ryan's sitting in the other room. He's just kind of got his slack jawed. He's like, what is Jackson saying in here?
You got to be better
at stealing.
We have to be the best.
It was mortifying. It was like watching a hobo take a dump.
It's godly.
Yeah, you do it in an area where people's phones are going to be focused on something else.
Boy, she was just kind of bawdy about it.
Yeah, she didn't care.
Just went in, dump.
No hesitation.
Yeah, like she owned the
Do
joint.
you think she got to use the trash can to back up her office? That's what I want. I want the picture of her walking out of that very fancy building with her blue and orange trash can.
Was she the DEI lady?
Yeah. No, that was at the Infatuation, a restaurant review website.
Very good.
I don't know what she was. Something community engagement.
Yeah, same thing, just a different name.
I'm torn between two nincompoop stories. That's a good nincompoop, Jackson. I'm torn between two nincompoop stories. I think I'm gonna go. You gonna be all right? You break something over there?
No, I just kept hitting it.
Yeah, I tell you what, it's a dangerous job in here. San Antonio Mayor Gina Ortiz Jones has said that she's directed city staff to amend rapper Ye's contract. She has done so that he agrees not to perform his song Heil Hitler or to refrain from selling any swastika merchandise during his planned July 4th concert at the Alamo Dome. The contract amendments come as Jones continues to call on her city council colleagues to vote to cancel the concert over the performer's history of making anti-Semitic remarks. Ye, formerly known as Kanye West, has apologized for said remarks, which he said stemmed from an ongoing battle with mental illness. You think? The demands have largely fallen on deaf ears. Six city council members, a majority of the body, sent a joint statement announcing that they generally oppose censorship. For the concert to be canceled, a majority of council members would need to side with Jones in a public vote. As of Monday, Ye's show had moved 50,000 tickets. Majority of them outside Bexar County. The concert is projected to generate $1.7 million from the Alamo Dome. Jones, for her part, the mayor of San Antonio, I feel for her, says, and I quote, "The fact that we even have to ask for these things is ludicrous. But that's where we're at. I guess we just move forward." Y'all are nincompoops for scheduling this concert. The fact that you have to publicly ask a concert performer not to sing their Heil Hitler song, all of you are nincompoops, especially those of you on the city council. And, would you mind not selling the merchandise with the swastika on it? My Lord. On a side note, I've got good money that Austin Lee's going to this concert. What do y'all think? Austin Lee?
Front row seats.
Front row, San Antonio. Austin and his buddy Ye singing along to the Heil Hitler song.
I'm going to let you finish.
Was that Kanye?
That was Ryan. That was Ryan doing a little Kanye. Hey, Jackson, I'm going to let you finish. But what was it? What was her? Beyonce. Beyonce had the best album of all time in the history of mankind. Anyway, Jay Harper.
Yes, sir.
You're an nincompoop, sir.
All right, this is somewhat of a crappy situation. A man spent almost 30 minutes submerged in sewerage after he fell into a toilet at a campground in California while he was trying to retrieve his Ray-Ban sunglasses. Officers from the Fresco County Sheriff's Office and firefighters, they rushed to a restroom at Camp Edison in Shaver Lake, California, after receiving a report that a man was trapped inside the holding tank of the camp toilet. The toilet facility, it had no plumbing, so it's kind of like a porta potty, a portable toilet there at the camp. In a Facebook post, the Fresco County Sheriff's Office said they found out the man had dropped his sunglasses inside the toilet tank, and in an attempt to retrieve them, he fell several feet into the hole and began yelling for help. As he could not get out. Also, they had to bring a translator because the man only speaks Spanish. The man was finally pulled from the foul situation after spending almost a half an hour in the tank. He was put through a decontamination process, and you can understand why. He was exposed to, well, you know what he was exposed to.
Hola, amigo.
Yeah.
El poopy caca.
Yes. Mucho caca.
Hepatitis.
While it is not known if the man was able to retrieve his sunglasses, officials did say he was able to walk away from a rather crappy situation.
Why do you want them at that point?
Yeah, no kidding. I don't, Ray-Bans, yeah, I love my Ray-Bans.
I don't know, man.
Crap watches.
But, yeah,
No, it doesn't.
I mean, but
not if you fall in.
Yeah, I guess so. That's
I bet he wishes he would have just let them sunglasses go.
That's a crappy story, Jay Harper.
I know.
Ought to be wiped out completely.
Could have been a rental.
Maybe. That's how we do it. That's the Incompleteness in the News. That's 56 after the hour. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. You can vote, early vote off, and there'll be a vote up on the YouTube side of things. You can vote on the television side. You can also vote on the Super Text line, 615-737-9986. That's how we play. One more hour to go. It's the Matt Murphy Show. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Men tend to develop diseases that they don't get checked out. That's the bottom line, ladies, and we need your help. We fellas need your help when it comes to making sure that everything's going A-OK inside of our bodies. Only about 28% of men meet federal guidelines for both aerobic activity and muscle strength. That means that we are susceptible to certain maladies and whatnot, and consistency is what matters most. Here's the bottom line. At Kraft Body Scan, when it comes to your health, you need to know what's going on inside of your body, and they help you do that. Sign up for a couples heart and lung scan today. $99. That is an insane value, an incredible value. But right now, go to togetherwescan.com, promo code MATT50. Togetherwescan.com, promo code MATT50, or call 615-436-1000. 436-1000. Friends, do this. Do this for your health and do it for the health of your loved one. Couples Heart and Lung Scan, $99. You can't beat it. TogetherWeScan.com. Hey, friends, it's Matt Murphy for Grace Point Healthcare, affordable, convenient, and comprehensive medicine in a direct pay format. They are your primary care provider. That means that all treatment decisions are made between you and their medical staff, never your insurance company, because they shouldn't be in the room. Now, you can file with your insurance for reimbursement after the fact. Bottom line is this, though. They're costing you less. They're charging you less than some of the other guys as a result of all of this. Plus, if you do the basic Smart Care plan, $99 a month for the grown-ups, $79 for the kids, and you don't pay through the entire year for your checkups and your visits, your office visits, plus free basic labs and diagnostics. That's what it's all about. Convenient to just about anywhere. They're in Franklin, 599-6868, 599-6868. It's Grace Point Healthcare. They treat the whole body with a comprehensive medical approach. Could not recommend them more. Grace Point Healthcare, modern medicine delivered the old-fashioned way. It is 2 minutes past 6 p.m. I'm Jay Harper with your top stories. A forecast and another traffic report are coming up. Tens of thousands of people still considered missing in Venezuela following the twin earthquakes that reduced some buildings to just dust. The death toll close to 200, but that number expected to rise as first responders and rescuers continue to search for people. Senior Vice President of International Programs for the International Rescue Committee, Kieran Donnelly, says it's going to be tough to get aid to some of those areas because of all the damage.
We have a team in Venezuela who've been working there for over 40 years. Our Venezuelan colleagues, after having spent last night sleeping in the open for fear of further aftershocks, they've regrouped this morning and are already beginning assessment efforts working with local Venezuelan civil society organizations to understand where the greatest needs are and how we can best support them in that effort.
A U.S. official has confirmed to ABC News that an Iranian drone has struck a ship in the Strait of Hormuz. The attack prompted the UN's International Maritime Organization to suspend their escorts of ships through the strait. More from ABC's Luis Martinez. He says this may be an indication that negotiations and that memorandum of understanding between the U.S. and Iran are not on the most stable of ground.
Very tenuous situation because over those 60 days that the United States and Iran are supposed to be negotiating further movement towards an eventual full agreement, there's a lot of instability about what could actually happen. So in previous instances prior to that memo of understanding, what we did see is that the United States would sometimes carry out retaliatory strikes against some of the Iranian positions that would attack some of the shipping through the Strait of Hormuz. But it's unclear if that's something that we're likely to see now.
We now head to Florida, where the immigration facility there, known as Alligator Alcatraz, is closing. Many complaints about the facility. ABC's Chuck Severson has more.
Florida Governor Ron DeSantis.
I don't think you would see us doing this again. This was temporary. This was an emergency measure.
At a Thursday news conference, he said federal Homeland Security did not have resources.
The funding they got last summer had not passed yet, and they were in a situation where they could not keep these people. They didn't know what to do with them. They didn't have the space.
Lawsuits alleged environmental violations, inhumane conditions for detainees, no working bathrooms, insects, and inedible food.
That is the latest news. Stand by for traffic and weather. It's coming up. I'm Jay Harper, WTN News. We have a one-vehicle accident in Wilson County. This is actually on Interstate 840 eastbound, just past Couchville Pike. Vehicle running off the road there. Smith Springs Road, west of Bell Road. That's an injury crash near Nashville Village. And in Green Hills, Belmont Boulevard, south of Graybar Lane, we have a wreck and a new accident just popping up in the Belmont area, 8th Avenue South, just north of Wedgwood. I'm Jay Harper.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN. We enter the final hour of this Thursday edition of the Matt Murphy Radio Show. Pleased that you've decided to join us. Whatever time you're able to give us, we're certainly appreciative of each and every one of you. Thank you so much. I appreciate Jackson Williams, believe it or not. I appreciate young Ryan, who's controlling the experience today. And, of course, Jay Harper, sub again for Ken Weaver. Several of you asking, what happened to Ken? What happened again? And I know why, because Ken had a little bit of an issue, an ear issue, a tinnitus issue. A couple of weeks ago. Ken is A-OK, says that he's doing fine with regard to his health. I texted with him a couple of days ago. Yesterday, I guess it was. One way or the other, Ken's doing great. He's on vacation, and he will be back. We enjoy hearing Jay, and we'll appreciate having Ken back in the house with us as well. 615-737-9986. If you are down Tim's Ford Lake Way, come by and see us tomorrow. We'll be there from 3 until 7 o'clock at the Twin Creeks Marina, drafts and watercrafts to be specific. We'll be out on the dock having a good time. I'm going to give Jack, hey, I saw quarters in the green room. You know what I'm talking about? There's 2 quarters over there in the green room. You need to get those quarters and bring them with us.
Why?
We're feeding the fish and the turtles.
Aren't we not supposed to do that?
No, we're supposed to do that. They offer. They have a so at Twin Creeks Marina. They have a little spot. It's actually pretty cool. I don't know why I'm fascinated by this so much, but I am. They have a spot where they have an old gumball machine, and you can put quarters in it, and you can get fish food. And the fish know where the gumball machine is, and the turtles know where the gumball machine is. And but they kind of leave it alone unless and until they see someone going toward the gumball machine. And I'm not making this up. It's fascinating. God created these animals, and they are very smart, because when somebody walks toward the gumball machine, you see all the turtles and all the big fish come near the area where beneath the gumball machine off the dock where you'd be throwing the fish food for the purpose of feeding the fish. So you need to get your quarters. Get your quarters ready.
Okay.
It's a delight to watch.
Why don't we just give them bread?
I guess you could. I don't know if they frown on that or not. I suppose you could. I feel like the fish are greedy and they don't let the turtles have enough food. I'm kind of partial to the turtles myself. Just me. I'm partial to Tim Burchett as well. Representative Tim Burchett was on with us earlier in the week. Had an interesting conversation with him about his frustration with the United States Senate. Actually asked him if he was in the Senate, would he support John Thune? He said he would not. Asked him if he would vote for John Thune. Said he would not. Well, Tim Burchett has now, he has a pretty outside-of-the-box idea to address algae growth in the Lincoln Memorial Reflecting Pool, and I think I'm behind this. I think I agree with this idea. I don't know if Tim's kidding or not, but I'm all about this. When asked by reporters on Capitol Hill what he, if he had the ability, would do about the problem with algae in the reflecting pool, Burchett said, honestly, I think it'd be cool if they just let it go and create an ecosystem. You know, have fish in there and everything. I think it'd be really cool. A cool way to go. Renovations on the reflecting pool wrapped up earlier this month, and obviously it cost about a little less than $15 million through a federal contract. The project included repainting the base of the pool a shade of blue to match the American flag. The paint, however, began peeling off the bottom of the pool several days after the project finished, and there were reports of individuals that were molesting or otherwise vandalizing the pool area. The water in the 2,028-foot pool also turned green due to an algal bloom after the renovation ended. National Park Service deployed hydrogen peroxide and a nanobubble ozone technology. Wow. Fancy, to kill the algae and other contaminants. Over the weekend, bystanders found a dead duck floating in the pool, 2 dead ducks in the gardens close to the site. City Wildlife, an animal rescue group based in Washington, said it submitted necropsy samples from the 2 ducks found in the gardens and, quote, cannot comment on the cause of those deaths until the results are received. The group was unable to comment on the cause of death for the duckling found in the pool. President Trump has blamed vandalism for the issues at the pool. The Trump administration announced the arrest of 6 individuals in connection to vandalism at the site. Burchett said that there are, quote, other methods to address the bloom of algae in the pool, such as chlorine and bleach, but he also acknowledged the reality of the outdoors. It's algae and science. It's just going to happen. I'm not even kidding with you when I tell you I love the idea of just letting it go and creating a little biological experiment.
You could go the other way and polish stainless steel and get rid of all the water.
You could do that too. I had someone recommend copper to me. Just line everything with copper.
To me, crackhead.
Gosh, that's a good point. Ryan had a good point. Crackheads would steal the copper. So you couldn't do the. And I don't think the copper would be good for the critters, the wildlife. I think copper would probably kill all the animals.
Stainless steel, surgical grade.
Stainless steel. That's a pretty good idea. Just line it there and you'd be done with it. Anyway, one way or the other, I feel like we've finally moved beyond the reflecting pool story. Not that it should have been the story that it was on most major media network outlets. There is a huge story going on in Venezuela as our hearts, thoughts, prayers, all of that go out to the sad folks in that region of the world. 2 major earthquakes descending upon Venezuela, 7.2 magnitude and a 7.5 magnitude. At least the last report I saw were almost 200 people are known to have died as a result of the incident, and potentially many, many more could possibly have died as a result of the incident. So we're monitoring that situation as well. Just a very, very sad situation with insane damage. They're searching the rubble after these 2 quakes. Venezuelans are searching as we speak, as a matter of fact. In cities across northern Venezuela, panicked residents poured into the streets as many others were using their bare hands to search the debris of buildings that had been just destroyed, absolutely destroyed. Looked like a bomb went off. People sobbing and I mean, as you might expect during the immediate aftermath of a natural disaster, the sadness that a lot of these people are experiencing. So we're watching that. And the United States of America has announced that we're sending, obviously, money and resources in an effort to try to help those folks out as best we possibly can. A couple of Supreme Court rulings that we're monitoring as well, 2 having to do with immigration in the United States of America. In ordinary speech, no one would say that a person arrives in a place before the person actually enters that place. Those were the words that Justice Samuel Alito wrote in the 6-3 majority opinion. They captured the lost in translation character of the court's fight over the undocumented persons and whether or not they physically have to be present in the United States of America to make an asylum claim. In one pair of major immigration wins for the Trump administration, the court ruled that asylum seekers who are stopped on the other side of the southern border are not present in the United States. And this seems like, I mean, what's dumb is that there were 3 justices that ruled in the other way. This isn't hard, y'all. If treated as inside the country despite being an outsider or outside of the country, those individuals would be allowed to enter and remain in the country while their asylum claims are pending. The case highlights the lengths at which the Biden administration went to facilitate the entry of illegal aliens into the United States of America. It rescinded the policy of metering that was put into place by the Obama administration and later restored and expanded by the Trump administration. In seeking to bar Trump from enforcing the same policy of the Obama administration, 3 liberal justices were debating what the meaning of "in" is. Y'all remember, you don't, Jackson, you're too young. Bill Clinton? Well, it really depends on what the definition of is.
What's a woman?
What is a woman? Yeah, that's right. Ketanji Brown Jackson couldn't. Oh, I'm not a biologist. I don't know. Wasn't it our own Marsha Blackburn that asked her that question? I think so.
I think she piled on too.
Yeah, I think so. She asked Ketanji Brown Jackson at the time of her Senate confirmation hearing, what is a woman? And, well, Senator, I couldn't tell you. I'm not a biologist. Use your best judgment there, lady. Yeah, Bill Clinton back in the day, for those who missed it, he was being deposed by an individual, concerning some of his shenanigans in the White House, whitewatering and whatnot. And at one point said, well, it depends on, he was asked a question. Well, that just depends on what the definition of is. What? Well, the 3 liberal justices were concerned about what the definition of "in" is. Justice Sonia Sotomayor denounced the majority's, quote, illogical interpretation, which is driven almost entirely by a fixation on the single word "in." Words, however, matter, do they not? Well, not according to Sotomayor. She said that words must be read in context and with attention to how they fit into the statute as the whole. In their view, contextual reading means that you can be... So, I mean, they're literally... Sonia Sotomayor, Elena Kagan, and Ketanji Brown Jackson actually said that you can be in the United States of America without actually being in the United States of America. That's what they said. These are 3 Supreme Court justices in their dissent in a 6-3 victory for the Trump administration, because the Trump administration was like, you have to be here in order to claim asylum. You have to be in the United States. They aren't in the United States, so we're denying their asylum claims. And these liberal justices said, well, you can be in the United States of America without actually being in the United States of America. Really?
Show us.
Can you now? That's a good point. Why don't you demonstrate what you're talking about? Oh, no, the door shut on you. Sorry. Our bad. No, can't hear you. The disagreement in the opinions spilled over into the release of the opinions. Justice Alito read a summary of his opinion, followed by a lengthy reading by Justice Sotomayor of her dissent. The stinging dissent produced a rebuttal from the bench by Alito, who was surprised by the extended comments and said that if he had not been blindsided, he would have said more, including how, quote, the policy in question was adopted by 2 very different administrations. The court also delivered a victory in Mullen v. Doe, upholding the right of the administration to strip Syrian and Haitian immigrants of temporary protection status. Lower courts afforded the Obama and Biden administrations leeway in granting such status. They did not afford the Trump administration. Obviously, they're ruling differently with the Trump administration because he's Trump and they hate him. In her dissent in Mullen, Sotomayor invoked the image of a voyage of the MS St. Louis where Jews fled Nazi Germany and were not allowed entry into various countries, only to be returned to Germany, where many died in the Holocaust. The problem with that analogy is that those on the St. Louis were demonstrably in flight from lethal persecution. Virtually all of the asylum claims made at our borders are rejected as unsupported or invalid. Immigration groups handing out material across the border, coaching immigrants to claim asylum. I've been talking to you about this for years. I mean, literally years, where these individuals during the Biden administration were coached up that you go to the border crossing, you claim that you've been persecuted in your home country, you claim asylum, and then they let you in. And that's what you do. And then they give you a couple of pieces of paperwork. And toward the end there, they were giving people bus tickets.
Apps.
Or apps or flights out of the region because they didn't like the optics of tens of thousands of illegal migrants hanging around. What was it? Eagle Pass in Texas and Del Rio, I want to say.
That bridge.
And yeah, the bridge in Del Rio, Texas, where they, instead of stopping the illegal entry of these illegal aliens under the bridge, they decided to stop the drone flights from Fox News showing all of the tens of thousands of illegal aliens who had already been allowed in. So a couple of common sense decisions on the part of the court that we wanted to alert you to as we enter the final hour of the show. 615-737-9986. A little closer to home, our good friend Freddie O'Connell has popped his head up out of his little little hole there, and I almost said something else that I would have regretted. We will tell you what he has to say about matters involving Nashville, Tennessee, coming up in a moment on Super Talk. Friends, basically anytime and every time that you shoot, you learn more at the Glock store. That's my message to you. Because when you're shooting at the Glock store, you're doing so in a room, never a lane, a room. The Shoot 270 rooms are just that. Imagine a circle, which is 360 degrees. Well, you can fire at 270 degrees. That means you have a wide field of vision, and it's more realistic. It's more lifelike that way. It replicates life in a way that better trains you in the unlikely event that you would have to draw your weapon or you would have to protect yourself. But that's what it's all about, getting that training in. Get firearm training the right way, the Shoot 270 way, only at the Glock store. One-on-one training with a private instructor, a professional instructor. Mitch and his team, they're really, really good at what they do. They make me a better shooter every time I walk through the door, and they can do so with you as well. After my first Shoot 270 session, I knew I would never train anyone else. And I mean this. I would never train anywhere else because of the effectiveness of the Shoot 270 program. And because lanes aren't reflective of real life. They just aren't. Every time you finish your Shoot 270 training session, you leave a safer, more accurate, more competent, and confident gun owner. And that's what it's all about. Go to shoot270.com. Just one of the many things they do at the Glock store. Go to glockstore.com and see the difference. Or you can stop by. I would encourage you to do so. Airlane Drive, just off of Elm Hill Pike, just off of Briley Parkway. And Briley Parkway is convenient to anywhere. Minutes away from the airport. It's the Glock store. Hello, friends. It's Matt Murphy. The clock is ticking on the Genesis Diamonds incredible financing offer. You have until June 30th, tick tock, to take advantage of the hottest offer of the summer. 5 years, zero interest financing with zero down. Get in now and splurge. Treat yourself. If you're planning to propose, now's the time. Get in on that stunning Designer engagement ring starting at as low as $67 per month, or a 3-carat lab-grown diamond, just $99 a month. Pick any item, divide by 60, and that is your payment. That is your price. No money down. This is on approved credit. See store for details. Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs. Stop by, see the incredible sparkly, and tell them that I sent you to the one and only Genesis Diamonds.
The U.S. Supreme Court has handed down some immigration decisions favorable to the Trump administration. We'll fill you in. Also, a Tennessee U.S. congressman, he's introducing a sweeping immigration reform bill of his own. And we'll get to today's closing money news. That's coming up in just a bit on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
There's Jay Harper in the newsroom. My name is Matt Murphy. I'm in Studio A. Jackson Williams, whether we like it or not, is here. We like it. We like it. Ryan is behind the glass, making sure that everything that comes out of our speakers sounds as good as possible. Ryan will be in place here tomorrow as Jackson and I, Jay Willie and I, are at the lake, along with you, I hope. I hope that you get out there with us. Metro Nashville told the Tennessee Star that Metro estimates it will need until July 10 to provide documents justifying the nearly $1.5 million in grants awarded to the Tennessee Immigrant and Refugee Rights Coalition. This is an organization that essentially hands out money to illegal aliens to defend themselves, and they're doing so with our tax dollars. And the Tennessee Star rightly noted this and rightly sued them, or at least demanded justification for the payments. The response from Metro came 6 business days after they confirmed receipt of the public records request, June 12. At which point, the request had been sent to the Metro Department of Finance, the Law Department, and the Mayor's office. The Mayor has not responded individually about it. The request comes as Metro officials publicly contradict one another about how the funding will be used. A spokesperson for O'Connell told the Tennessee Star that the money would not go toward providing legal representation, advice, or advocacy for illegal aliens. But Metro clerk Austin Kyle said that it would do that it would extend existing grants with a different funding source. And those grants had been for illegal alien legal representation. We'll continue to follow the story for you. And kudos to Leahy and the Tennessee Star for following up on that, as we deserve some answers. The taxpaying citizens of Davidson County certainly do. It is 6:30. Your calls, Irwin and James, coming up. Plus, a civil rights attorney is in town and might be suing the state of Tennessee over driver's license requirements. We'll talk about that in a moment on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
We are coming up on 31 minutes past 6 p.m. I'm Jay Harper with your top story. Stand by. Another traffic report and a weather forecast are coming up. The Supreme Court handing the Trump administration at least 2 wins in immigration cases today. ABC's Mary Bruce reports.
In a 6-3 decision, the court clearing the way for Trump to cancel the temporary protected status of hundreds of thousands of Haitians and Syrians who have been living and working legally in the U.S. Most will now need to leave the country or face deportation. In the other case, the justice is allowing the administration to turn away people seeking asylum at official ports of entry along the U.S.-Mexico border, meaning the U.S. can essentially shut the door to migrants fleeing violence and persecution.
Another immigration story involves Tennessee Congressman Andy Ogles. He's introduced a sweeping immigration bill titled the Remigration Act. Remigration Act. There, I think I got it. Anyway, it's to revoke the citizenship of some naturalized Americans, as well as end birthright citizenship for children of undocumented immigrants, and review asylum and refugee approvals made between January 20th of 2021 and 2025. The bill would revoke naturalized citizenship for individuals convicted of aggravated felonies, government benefits fraud, certain federal crimes, or material support for a foreign terrorist organization within 10 years of naturalization. The proposed bill would also create a DHS task force to review every asylum grant, refugee admission, and adjustment of status made under the Biden administration. The Remigration Act also would require English language proficiency for naturalization. Now let's get to the closing money news. For that, here's Chuck Severson.
Market indexes were mixed. The Dow was up 72 points at the end of Thursday trading. The S&P 500 was unchanged after a roller coaster day of trading, and the Nasdaq fell 118 points. Chipmaker Micron Technology helped drive market gains. Shares were up more than 16% after the company reported much stronger than expected profit and revenue for the latest quarter. Strong demand for computer memory and storage is turning into higher prices for customers. Microsoft and Apple both announced price hikes on consumer products. Microsoft upping Xbox prices by at least $100, and Apple raised prices of Macintosh computers by more than 15%. The announcement sent Apple shares into a slump that helped drag down the S&P 500. Department of Commerce reported the U.S. economy expanded at 2.1% in the first quarter of the year, marking a rebound from the 0.5% growth at the end of last year that was weighed down by a lengthy government shutdown.
That's the latest news. Stand by for traffic and weather. I'm Jay Harper, WTN News. In the Belmont area, a wreck still being cleared, 8th Avenue South, just north of Wedgwood. In Brentwood, 65 northbound past Old Hickory Boulevard at exit 74, a crash reported. Also in Brentwood, Old Hickory Boulevard west of Brentwood Chase Drive, we're seeing a wreck there. In Hermitage, an injury crash, Central Pike just east of New Hope Road. And a couple of problems in Madison, an injury wreck, Gallatin Pike North, just south of Cumberland Avenue, and another crash, Gallatin Pike South, south of Harris Street. I'm Jay Harper.
Showers and thunderstorms Friday and Saturday. Some of those storms could be on the stronger side with heavy downpours and gusty winds.
Hello, friends. Matt Murphy. Let's talk about the fastest, smartest, easiest, best way to buy a diamond. Hurry, because the incredible offer ends June 30th and will not be extended. It's at Genesis Diamonds. Right now, you walk in the store, and whatever you see in there, a designer ring, a diamond pendant, a bracelet, earrings, whatever it might be, a stunning designer engagement ring, for example, you can get this at 60 months, no interest, with no money down on approved credit. That's what it is at Genesis Diamonds. Buy a pre-owned Rolex or that designer ring. Get the incredible Genesis price that they are famous for. Spread your payments over 5 years, 0.0% interest rates. Once again, it's on approved credit. See store for details. Genesis Diamonds has 2 locations to serve you in Green Hills and Cool Springs. 5 years, 0 interest financing with 0 down. Even the sales tax. That's incredible. Get in now and splurge. Maybe treat yourself, planning to propose or whatever you might be doing. Or this is a big enough deal that you can go ahead and get that home run gift for the Christmas holidays. Hide it somewhere in the house, and off you go. You're taken care of. Genesis Diamonds. Once again, tell them Matt Murphy sent you Green Hills and Cool Springs. Hello, friends. Matt Murphy for Efficient Heating and Cooling. If you need a second opinion on something you've been told about your AC unit, call Jeff Eddy in Efficient Heating and Cooling. I would encourage you to call him first, but friends, I understand. Maybe you called somebody else. Maybe you got a buddy in the business. One way or the other, Efficient Heating and Cooling can help you understand exactly what your options are, because they don't gravitate to, you got to replace it first and foremost, because they understand that you're a baller on a budget. So $125 maintenance call in their service area, never more, and oftentimes much less. That's what that's all about. Plus, they offer financing available for you for those who are in need. If it comes time that you have to replace or an Elite Pro partner with Rheem, they can find the right unit for you and your family. So, bottom line is this. The AC, we're going to need this now more than ever. Have you all seen the weather forecast? Have you listened to the weather forecast? It's getting up to the triple digits next week. That's the real temp. Not that real feels nonsense. The real temperature is potentially 100 degrees next week. That AC needs to be running properly, and the way that you make sure that is happening is with Jeff Eddy and Efficient Heating and Cooling. So go ahead and schedule that appointment today. 615-784-4424, 615-784-4424 for our friends at Efficient Heating and Cooling, online at efficienthvac.net. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. All right, so Johnny Garrett has responded. I've not read his entire response. He's written it to me personally, and we were doing this earlier today where we had Norm Parton on, and Norm said that Johnny was responsible for killing a bill in committee that would have allowed the Right to Race Act to move forward. And there's a fairly lengthy response, so I'll try to get back. And better yet, I'll talk to Johnny, and perhaps he will come on and explain exactly his position on this issue at some point down the road. Maybe tomorrow, maybe next week sometime. We'll figure it out. 615-737-9986. I just wanted to let you guys know, in the interest of full disclosure, and to his credit, Johnny has responded to me with a lengthy text that I'll get to, and I'll share some of that with you as time allows. It's time for Erwin in Nashville. Hello, Erwin. How are you?
I'm doing good, sir. You were talking about the White House gigolo a while ago. Can I say gigolo? Talk about Clinton.
You can say gigolo.
Yes, sir. You were trying to define the definition of is. Now, let's remind the millennium generation about that he hit the joint, but he did not inhale it. In other words, he smoked marijuana, but he did not inhale. Well, what is that supposed to mean?
Well, that means he's a liar.
Yeah, I know. So I just had to share that with you. I don't know if you mentioned it or not. So the new generation will know about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we all kind of know that Bill Clinton. I remember it at the time, and we kind of knew Bill Clinton was lying then. I smoked, but I didn't inhale.
Half baked.
Yeah, I wish I could do the imitation like you do.
Well,
I don't know, but thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Erwin. I appreciate it. Yeah, Clinton. For those that missed it, Clinton was he was Mr. Cool. He went on the Arsenio Hall show and played his saxophone, and everybody thought he was so cool. I fell for it. The first time I voted for president of the United States of America was in 1992, and I voted for Bill Clinton, William Jefferson Clinton. I did not make the same mistake in 1996, and I don't think that I have voted for a Democrat since then. No, I don't think I have. I have. There have been many times where I've written someone in when I didn't care for the Republican candidate. I have voted for libertarians when they occasionally would appear on the ballot. But I remember voting for Bill Barr, who was a Georgia congressman that ran as a libertarian when I think it was Obama and McCain. It had to be Obama and McCain because I would not vote for John McCain I sure as hell wasn't voting for Barack Obama in 2008. And I believe Bill Barr was on the ballot as a libertarian, and I voted for Bill Barr at that time. But I've never voted for a Democrat since then. Bill Clinton was and is a character, man. And he was Mr. Cool, and in those environments, they asked him, boxers or briefs? I wear boxers. Thank you. I mean, and it was kind of funny because he was on the Arsenio Hall show, and it was at the time it's quaint now. Now we've got a president of the United States that just tosses around S-bombs and F-bombs, and at the time, someone in the audience, I want to say this was on Arsenio. It might have been a different town hall. They asked him if he wore boxers or briefs, and there were no such thing as boxer briefs at the time, Jackson. I know you're looking at me funny. It was either Lucy's or tidy whities. That was it. And Bill Clinton, I think he said he wore those boxer shorts. And people were shocked that someone would ask a president of the United States of America candidate such an untoward question, such a personal question. And then he was asked if he had ever smoked marijuana. I was like, well, I'm going to go ahead and be honest with you here. I'm not proud of it, but in my car, I smoked, but I did not inhale. Like, what? And I'm sitting in my college dorm like, what? What the hell are you talking about, dude? Nobody's buying this. I smoked, but I didn't inhale. I just said puffy. I did it because I wanted to be cool. James is in Portland. Hey, James, how are you?
Good afternoon, sir. How about yourself?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Great show today, buddy. I just gotta give you a little shout out to Jay Willie and Jay Harper. Y'all got a sister station right there that is into the sports. Is there any way we can get them to coerce them guys to promote your interview today with the racetrack guy and maybe give some highlights and stuff? The commentary and everything was just fantastic. Maybe, show up to promote your podcast or whatever you might say.
We'll certainly have we'll certainly have the conversation up on podcast. I know that Brent Doherty over at 3HL is friends with Norm Parton. I don't know how much they, I talk about it, because it's a local issue. Primarily, right. I love racing, so I guess I would gravitate to the subject anyway. But here's the deal: for me, it's a community subject because
absolutely
once we lose the racetrack's a one-off. You can have as many condominiums as you want. You can have as many parks as you want. But once you lose that racetrack, you'll never get it again. And I've been in too many communities. Specifically, I'm thinking about Birmingham, Alabama, where they lost such key cultural touchstones in that city. And the people just lamented never getting it back. You ask the people of Nashville what they lament, and they talk about Opryland. I mean, they talk about other, just cultural, iconic locations. You can never get those back, right?
When it's gone, it's gone.
Once it's gone, it's gone. So that's the spirit in which I talk about the conversation. But I'll certainly make them aware of it.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. The thing is, the people that listen to the sports stations don't necessarily hear the conversation that you guys have, and you guys have the real conversations on what's going on. I just want to leave it at that. Thank you so much for what you do, brother. I'm going to listen on the radio side.
Well, thank you, James.
What you got to say.
Thank you, James. I am. By the way, I am being admonished that one of our loyal listeners had the idea to turn the reflecting pool into an ecosystem prior to Tim Burchett, and so I apologize to Megan. I did not intend to steal your thunder there and suggest that Tim Burchett had it first. So there you go. Tim Burchett did have the idea, and I was reporting the story from thehill.com. But I do recall that one of our listeners, I think it was on the YouTube chat, said something about that. So, there it is. I just don't want I don't want any hard feelings because I don't want to steal anybody's thunder. Those are good ideas. And it is a good idea to turn that into a little ecosystem or the copper thing or whatever. 615-737-9986. 615-737-9986. $99.86. You better get your gummies and your THC drinks before July 1 because if you don't, you might not be able to get them thanks to our nanny state that thinks that you can't handle yourself. The Tennessee Senate passed legislation that eventually became law that would enforce new criminal penalty and prohibit the selling of kratom, a substance commonly sold in gas stations and vape shops. It was signed by Governor Bill Lee in May. The law will go into effect the same day as the state's THCA ban, July 1, less than a week from now. Starting that day, the possession of kratom would qualify as a Class A misdemeanor. The manufacturing, delivering, or selling would be a Class C felony. Prior to the passage of the bill, advocacy groups pleaded for regulation, not criminalization, and their pleas were not heard because sadly, the conservatives can't help themselves when it comes to social issues like this. Aside from recreational purposes, users often depend on the substance to manage chronic pain, manage mental health, curb opioid withdrawal and dependence. Kratom is not approved by the FDA for any official medical use, but has been legal for adults 21 and older in Tennessee since 2017. According to a February brief by the Tennessee Department of Health, the substance can cause dependence, mild to moderate withdrawal symptoms. The past legislation outlawing kratom stems from the perspective that the substance poses, quote, significant health and safety risk, motivating them to pursue criminal penalties rather than regulation, which is garbage. You know what causes a lot? You know what? These doctors that prescribe these opioids, man, I don't know, big pharma is alive and well in the state of Tennessee, sadly. One of kratom's most general uses is chronic pain, and that's been well documented. There's also going to be, let me see, is this the, THCA is also a substance that will be banned, and that includes, I guess you'll no longer be able to purchase any THC-based liquid with over 30 milligrams of THC per container or 15 milligrams per serving. Okay? So just be aware of that. So those of you who like your THC beverages, you can probably still buy the seltzers and those shots, but anything bigger than that, there's something that I actually had some of it. It's Willie's Remedy. It's a THC-based drink. It's called a social tonic. It comes in a larger bottle. It's like a spirit-based version of a THC beverage, which would replace your vodka or your tequila or whatever. That's kind of its companion in the alcohol category. You'll no longer be able to buy that in the state of Tennessee because our good friends in the General Assembly think that they're your mommy and your daddy and that they know better than you about what to put in your body and to consume. 52 after the hour. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hello, friends. Matt Murphy for USS, United Structural Systems. Friends, the foundation of your home is obviously pretty important, right? I mean, everything grows from there. And if your foundation is not rock solid, what do you have? Well, you got trouble. That's what you got. At USS, they understand Tennessee. They understand the foundation is important, and they've been working that for over 30 years now. Since 1994, homeowners have trusted USS. 30,000, as a matter of fact, over 30,000 local homeowners have trusted USS. That experience means they've seen every type of problem imaginable. They're local. They live here. They work here. They understand exactly how Tennessee operates, the soil, the weather, and homes. Every crack and leak tells a story, and they can identify what's going on with yours and figure out a plan of action that can satisfy you for the long term. By the way, they have a transferable lifetime warranty on all service that they provide. The long-term protection, you're not just getting repairs, you're getting true peace of mind. USS, USSTN.com. That's the website, USSTN.com. Book your free home inspection today. They're problem solvers, experienced, local. They are USS. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Lies and a lack of information on kratom caused a lot of problems for people who thought it was a natural substance with no side effects. Florida did an emergency ban on synthetic because of incidents. Well, I'm not talking about synthetic. My father has addiction problems and got into this substance, has repeatedly landed him in the hospital, caused us a lot of problems. Some substances need to be banned. That's a perfectly acceptable perspective on the issue. There's a lot of things that, for me, I just want a government that touches us the least possible way. And I believe that individuals can determine for themselves whether or not they want to continue to consume naturally occurring substances if they have all the information at their fingertips available to them regarding said substances. That's just me. It's weird. I didn't know how many kids and young people in Tennessee had chronic pain problems. Seem to have had problem with young people passing drug tests. Young people meaning, kids aren't supposed to have their hands on any of this. It's illegal for sale under the age of 21. So 1733, if you have kids that are purchasing kratom, or if you see them with kratom, they're not supposed to have it. It is illegal for them to purchase it. It is illegal for anyone to sell it to them, and it is illegal for them to possess it. It's my understanding, and that's against the law right now, long before. And by the way, I've never taken kratom in my life, so I don't know. I don't know how effective it is. I don't know how ineffective it is. I I do not believe that these morality laws benefit the general public. I think it drives things into the black market. I think you are better prepared to govern a situation with substances like this one by getting it above board, regulating it, preventing individuals that don't have an ability to make a mature or adult-based decision from possessing it at that point. All right, so that wraps up our Thursday edition. Tomorrow we're out at Twin Creeks Marina. Very excited about that. Jackson will be there. I'll be there. Mr. Kirby will be there. Ryan will be back at home base. Jay Harper will be here as well, delivering headlines all afternoon long, too. Come out and see us if you're that way. We'd love to talk with you on a First Amendment Freestyle Friday edition. Jay St. Clair will be along. I am in communique with Johnny Garrett, Representative Garrett. We had a lot of conversation about his action or lack thereof in committee. He has a different version of events, and we'll share those with you. Want to make sure that we give him the benefit of sharing that with you, if possible, tomorrow, as early as tomorrow. Until then, Matt Murphy, for the rest of the crew, speaking and saying, have a wonderful evening. Hug your loved ones. So long.